And breathe in and breathe out.
Okay, I don't know what Mike is. What
now
Mike's got some.
become one with the brick.
With the
Okay. Well, hey everyone, welcome to the Tiller Prime Podcast. Was it season 2, episode 68? One episode left after today in season 2. How you guys doing? Hopefully you're having a good time. Don't worry. I know you don't see Andres Restart on screen if you're watching the video version. He will be here later. He's watching the Miami Heat game right now. Pretty tight game. We'll see what's going on with that in a moment. I'll probably load it up on my phone here just because I'm curious. That being said, we're going to start the podcast the way we do every single time. Go around the room, introduce who the heck we are and what have we been playing lately. Let's just start with the guy right next to me, Mr. Game Bird Classic. Who are you?
There
it is.
The iconic Game Bird Classic catchphrase.
There you go.
What have you been
What's
playing
up?
lately, bud?
Who the heck are you?
I've actually been playing Sea of Stars. It was one of my favorite games that released last year. I never got a chance to finish it. I'm in the later stages of the game and loving it. And it's been such a good year already for RPGs in general. So yeah, just having fun with that one. Looking forward to finishing it and playing a lot of other cool stuff that's coming out.
Nice. Let's see here. What about Tucker? Welcome back, Tucker.
I am
Okay.
back.
I hardly know her. What the hell?
And I haven't heard that one before. That's a new one on me.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, I'm back.
Go tuck yourself.
I'm back
buddy.
after a legendary episode that went
Actually,
so long.
actually. Yeah, I like that.
What?
Let's all get
What
tucked.
He's having a conversation with himself. I'm trying to introduce myself.
Sorry, Tucker. You're right. I was.
Where do we even begin? You know, there's a long and storied history of Tucker Hazel on the Nintendo Prime podcast, in which I was right, basically. And that's really all there is to say.
Hey, he was right.
Not yet.
But Mike, honestly, on the still 2024 beat, which I respect, which I respect. But caps.
I'm sorry. That was me taking my L like a man.
You know what? Hey,
Wait, why?
That's
Why?
respectable.
Dude? It's only been 4 months into the year. Why are you losing everything, Nate? Come on, man. I thought you were stronger than that.
Nah, it ain't happening this year. It ain't happening.
You're not going down with the ship.
They're
This is
not.
what
They're
a
dude.
man-
They're not even at Gamescom. If it was coming out this year, it would have been at Gamescom. That's right. Let's put it back on.
funeral for Nintendo Switch in
Hey,
2024. This
As
is
long
what's
as
good.
we continuously interrupt Tucker, we're all for it.
Listen.
All right.
Okay? Until we count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Even at the last minute, they cut
Yeah.
And just release it at the last minute.
Eric, you better think of something to interrupt Tucker with.
Yeah, come on. Pull something over to your phone. What are you watching? What are you watching on your phone? Start playing it. It sounds like everyone else is doing that. But
Well, that wasn't my phone. I actually just have that set up. So,
you just have taps on like speed dial.
dude, I got this too. Hold on.
Oh shit.
I've got lots of stuff. Don't worry about it.
Good music right there.
Anyways.
Anyway,
So what's your long and storied history beyond destroying me in Switch 2 2024 debates?
what is my longest story in history?
No, your long and storied history.
Yeah, let's
this
start
guy.
with that one. The longest story in
I was
history.
like, what the hell does that mean?
Take the stage.
No, just frankly, just that. But what else do you need? What else do you need?
Well, where could they find you normally? Like, what are you on?
I have a YouTube channel called Backlog Banter. That
There it
is,
is.
there's not a lot. There's not a lot of subscribers on there.
Chat,
Quality.
if Tucker looks familiar, you may watch a lot of gay porn.
Hey, that's
Oh,
me. That's me. How'd you know?
It's him.
Yeah, but I as I was saying, not a lot of subscribers there. But the subscriber to quality ratio is just insane. It's just there's just such a gap.
I'm
But
subscribed. I'm very in tune with the scene.
thank you very much. Well, but in terms of what I've been playing, I actually was just playing Final Fantasy 15. I don't know what inspired me to start that. I've been playing through Final Fantasy games over the last couple of years, and that's one that always intrigued me because it seems so different for the series. And so the last couple of days, I put over 10 hours into it. So I'm enjoying it. I like Final Fantasy. It's a very, very, very weird game, though. It's just such a strange game.
Which number Final Fantasy?
15. That's the one with the boys in the car.
Yeah, that's like the boy band on. I kind of like that one. I like it more than 16, which I know is a very unpopular opinion.
I mean, 16 is one of my favorite games of all time. So,
Sure.
15 quite not on that level, not quite on that level yet. But Nate, looks like you have questions, comments, concerns?
I'm good. You
What
you
I
like
what
what
I
you
like about 15 that 16 doesn't have is the exploration.
Sure, that's fair enough.
Finding
I will
just, like,
say,
secrets and being
15
able to go anywhere.
15 has a massive world, not a lot to do though. So you're just kind of
That's-
going around because it's big. It's big and you're in a car. I'm like, hey,
Well,
I
if you
respect
do
that.
all the side quests, which I did, it was quite fun for me. But
Fair enough.
I mean,
I
look,
think
15 to me is the superior Final Fantasy, but
Sure.
wow, we
yeah,
agree
I-
on something.
I
like
actually,
that.
I actually
Jake,
like
what is this?
15
This
more
is
than-
like a first
more
in
than
podcast
16
history.
Also.
Why let that?
But- I like 15 more than 16 also, but my gripe with 16 actually is not the same. Lots of people have an issue with it being kind of an action game rather
Yeah.
than an RPG. For me, that's not the problem. I think the combat's super fast, snappy, and fun. My
Mhm.
issue is I don't like the story in 16, and I know that's a hot take.
Sure.
But I think the story is fantastic up until the end. I don't like the way it ends.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
You know,
That's definitely fair.
I don't want to go into spoilers for people.
Now-
I know there's probably a lot of people who are jumping in after Rebirth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the way I don't know. Sometimes when you have more like personal reasons or self-contained, when things get too big and blown up at the end,
Sure.
it kind of kills it for me.
Then again, you probably won't like RPGs then. 'Cause
No,
that's-
I love RPGs, but yes, I complain about a lot of
Yeah, of course.
some
No,
of
of course, of
the,
course.
the tropey stuff. But I
The
do.
interesting thing about 15 though is it doesn't start. Like the game doesn't
Sure.
have a beginning.
Sure.
You're just like, who are these people? Where am
Well,
I? What's happening? And they're just
It
like, "Ah,
does,
screw
but it
you,
was a
figure it out."
movie.
Exactly. Which,
You're-
in my
you're
opinion, is a
supposed to
great
get familiar
idea.
with it and
but-
watch the movie first, and that's the intro.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's how 9 starts too. You start in a ship with just people that's doing in the middle of doing something already. So
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
Little Final Fantasy debate to start things off.
Final Fantasy 7
Love it.
ever.
Daddy Jake, who are you? For starters, and why are you my dad? And what have you been playing lately?
Now your dad.
Well, I am Daddy Jake. I am him. I'm Daddy Jake. I'm not your dad. I'm everybody's daddy.
Oh.
I want to give a special shout out to Ruth in the chat, who is one of our viewers' mothers. that wanted to know if I was bricked up tonight. And Ruth, I'm pretty bricked up. It's safe to say. I'm not saying you have to say it, but if you were to say it, it'd be a safe thing
If
to
you say it, you'd be
assume.
feeling like this.
Hey, don't let me do the OnlyFans stuff. That's for the OnlyFans.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
There
That's
we
much more
go.
fitting. That's his entrance music. When he's wrestling and he's coming down the walk and he's just moaning music playing in the background.
But yes, what's up, chat? I this week didn't get to play a lot, but it was a friend's like birthday / wedding celebration, and we did play that game I told you guys about last week, What the Dub, where if you weren't here, basically it plays like old movie clips from the 50s,
Mhm.
and it will let them say most of it, and then it cuts it out, and you can make them say whatever you want, and then it actually says it. It doesn't just like put the text there; it actually reads it out. And so that can get out of hand very fast.
That's pretty cool.
It was really fun. So we played that again, and then I played Just Dance 2024, I don't know, whatever the latest Just Dance was. And
4.
I came in like second place every time. We were playing with 6 people, but one person, Shelby not be named, probably cheated, to be honest, but one person won like every time. But that game was really fun. I was so tired though, and I went all out for it. And maybe I cheated by tackling them into the ground several times to try to get
was
them
an
to have a worse score, but it backfired. It just made my score way worse. So, but it was fun.
I don't think tackle was a move in just.
Yeah, but I was trying to make it so they couldn't do any moves.
Yeah, well, you weren't doing
By hitting them.
Okay, all right. Mike, who the hell are you?
Who the heck am I? I'm me. Mike Odyssey, welcome to the Odyssey. Hit the like, press play. The one that with the squad like Xenoblade. So yeah, I'm just another guy on YouTube here, just spending the rest of my life here, just staring at my dog. You guys can look at my dog right here. A little kind of here. That's my dog.
It's a good picture.
The Shih Tzu. I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here with the cast. Cool cast. We have Eric in 6K today. 6K resolution.
Yeah, look at him. Look at him.
Awesome, right?
Looking sexy.
Every single hair. All accounted for.
I believe
Oh,
in miracles.
And he's hiding. He's hiding away.
Don't be scared, Eric. We love you.
You born again.
But
Wow. Sorry.
yeah, what I'm playing,
Andre's gonna be pissed.
I've been playing Final Fantasy Rebirth. It's doing good in that one. I played today. At least I played the full demo from the Europa game. Allow me to read my review here. It's gonna take me about 10 minutes.
Oh boy.
It says, just completed the Europa demo. So far, I like it. It's a solo player journey guided by a voice from the past through sheets of a journal you'll find throughout the world. To what I understand, the journal was left behind by the protagonist's father after arriving in a new world. It's more like an adventure than an action adventure. So that's Europa. That's my short little review here that I put on Twix. So yeah, follow me on Twix for more short reviews.
What is
Twix?
Twix? I've
Twix.
never heard of that.
Twix is it's the combination of Twitter and X. It's for those people who
I see. Oh, okay.
it's for those,
You're just being cute. It's not a different thing.
it's for those people who refuse to call it X. We're compromising. You're
Fair
compromising.
enough. No, I respect that. I was just very confused for a second.
Twix. So and it's not the left Twix or it's not a fight between the left or the right Twix. It just is. But yeah, yeah. Now, for those of you,
I
thinking
almost
that-
looked up Twix social media site just so you know. I was like, is there something I'm not familiar with? So you got me there.
Yeah. So for those of you who saw today the indie direct, the Europa, that's a good game. That I played it. That's why I'm talking about it because I played it.
I hope you played it. Otherwise, you just talked about it for a long time for no reason.
It's a long time. It was just a paragraph that I read here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-line paragraph.
He's
I
just
just-
reading the synopsis.
Yeah, I was gonna be like,
Actually, this is my original thought. I put it on Twitter, on Twix.
you sure you didn't like AI bot it?
Nope.
Yeah,
no.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT. Can you write a
Write me a
summary of this
review
game?
of
quick?
Europa.
Listen, hand to God, my daughter and my wife and my other daughter and my doggy. Promise to God that I did not. That came from my heart. Okay, came from the soul.
The other hand's got crossed fingers.
Yeah, right.
Can't do one at a time.
From the soul.
Anyways, awesome, Eric.
Yeah.
What have you
here.
been playing lately?
Nothing.
Well, what are you gonna be playing soon?
Everything.
Everything. What's arriving tomorrow?
Big plans.
My nice, 49-inch ultra wide
OLED monitor, you bastard.
Yeah.
It's like what I
awesome
have at my
new-
editing desk, except his isn't OLED, and it was half as much as mine was.
New,
Holy shit.
Yeah.
gaming PC too. So,
Yeah. Picking up AoE 4?
oh yeah.
Hell yeah. My boy's going to be playing some Age of Empires with me. I'm hyped.
Yeah.
Hyped. All right. Then I guess it's my turn. You guys know who I am at this point, the host of the Nintendo Prime podcast. Look, what I've been kind of dealing with around here is a big mixture of games, right? Obviously, you guys know I'm in some Madden leagues. So I play that every single week. But I've been doing a lot of the Age of Empire 4 campaigns, just getting up to date. One, I love history, so like it's kind of going through history, so that's kind of cool. But then just kind of relearning all the new keybinds and stuff because they changed them all from Age of Empires 1, 2, and 3, which is that's fine. Those games came out a long time ago. So I've been playing a lot of that. Also, I've still been dabbling in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. one of these weekends I'll just sit down and beat the damn thing. I don't know why. I'm maybe I just don't want it to end.
How far in are you?
That happens to me a lot.
Yeah.
I'm about 12 hours in, and I'm at shit. I
Oh,
didn't
you got a
play it
long
this-
way to go.
Yeah, I
you
didn't,
said
I didn't
12
play
hours?
it.
12 hours.
You're not gonna be able to do that in a
Long way.
weekend.
When you said I should just sit down and
Oh, if
finish
I
it, I
just
thought
wanna
you meant
plow
like over
through-
a weekend.
I don't 100% games. All right, so like I can plow
Okay, so
through
you're
that
gonna-
story. I
Yeah,
can plow through
there
it in
you
a
go,
weekend
okay.
if I really want.
Okay, all right.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm kind of slow playing it. So, and then let me see. I've been playing. Well, actually, I just installed Grounded on Switch yesterday.
Hmm.
I was planning to play it today, but my day kind of got away from me, so I didn't get a chance. So I'll maybe give some opinions on that next week. We'll see. So I'm actually kind of excited to play Grounded, even though I could have played it on Xbox this entire time because I have Game Pass. I just never did. And I know next to nothing about the game, so I'm kind of excited
I'm
to
curious
dive
to
in
hear
because
how it.
Nintendo isn't giving me anything to play. So
Is it-
Xbox.
Can you
Thank you.
I'm curious to hear how it plays.
Yeah, can you believe that somebody asked me like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like a Honey I Shrunk the Kids. Like, what's Honey I Shrunk the Kids? Like,
They're not cultured. They
it's
don't know. They don't know cinema history.
a game from the.
See, that's just my life history. I literally watched it growing up. So
That happened. It's a
How old is
documentary.
this person, Mike?
it's a documentary. What?
Huh?
Yeah.
Mike, how old was the person that didn't know?
I don't know. Like he had like an old picture of an old person on his old profile on his old
Well, already then.
his old self.
Maybe he was too old. Maybe
Just-
he,
lots of-
maybe
I'm
he
hearing
died
the
before it
word-
came out.
It's too old. That bastard.
I'm hearing the word old a lot. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Let's go ahead and
Is
get
it Nate?
to jeez. So get to our first topic. We're obviously going to be talking about the indie world, and we'll just show this bad boy. So obviously
Look
we have
how
indie
easy it
world
is to
today.
restream. Wow.
That was one of the
This man's got
biggest.
Made possible by the power of Restream.
Everyone cool is
Not
on the top
sponsored.
row. Restream knows.
Sponsored by StreamYard.
You know, everyone cools on the top row.
And then Nate just moves. I was gonna say.
Just kidding, psych. Everyone,
Anyway.
nope. I was kidding about being kidding.
Okay. Anyways, so obviously we had the indie world today. We get 2-3 of these every single year. This obviously was maybe had a little more pressure on it than usual from the Nintendo fan base because Nintendo hasn't announced anything all year long. In fact, they haven't had a new game announcement of a game they've actually been making themselves since Mario Wonder.
What the heck?
Princess
Yeah,
Peach
sure.
was made by Good Feel. Endless Ocean Luminous is made by Akira. So Nintendo hasn't had like any game
Eureka.
they're actually making announced since Mario Wonder. So it's been a long time. It's a long time for us to just not have anything new announced from Nintendo themselves. It's one of the longest I think it is the longest drought in Switch history. So a lot of that's because we just haven't had a general direct, which could happen at some point. So instead, we had a third-party partner showcase, which cool. We talked about that. We did a whole episode on it. Now we have this indie world where right now we're seeing Little Kitty, Big City, or whatever I believe. So how are we feeling about this indie world? Like, did we enjoy it? Was there stuff in there we liked? Indie worlds tend to get a lot of flack, and I think this one's getting a lot more flack than usual, just because we don't
Your
have.
game called Little Kitty Big Titty.
Little Kitty, Big City.
I heard something else.
I don't agree. I agree. I think this. I actually enjoyed this indie world a lot. I gave it an 8 out of 10 because just like I told my audience when I was watching, look, you go into an indie world, you go in search of new games you could play. You go in search of that one game that's going to call your attention and say, okay, I want to play this game. You don't go in there looking for things because indie world normally is for indie developers who sometimes we don't even know who they are until they show up. So like set your expectation to find new games, open your horizons and find new activities to do or new games to play. And that's what we went into with that expectation. And I loved it, like the indie world. That game right there, that show right there, that kind of Metroid type, Dread type of Mega Man type of,
Yeah.
that was a really good game too. By Atari.
Surprising.
I saw that logo and I got excited. Atari. It's finally, jumping into the platform and giving us cool games. Was that character? I thought she was gonna do Kamehameha.
Yeah, let's like it. Yeah, just gearing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to echo Mike as well. I actually thought this for an indie world. I actually thought this was really good. I felt like there was something there for everyone. I know we had that interesting game called. I wrote some notes so I remember the names. Refined
Not
Self,
everyone. I
and it
don't
had
think
that-
there was anything there that Andres would buy.
Maybe
Well,
not.
I mean,
I don't
we'll
know.
find
We
out
could,
when he
we
gets
could
back
ask
in a second.
Andres.
That's my prediction. We'll see if we'll come back to this.
Dude, that game,
Continue.
But we had that cool indie game that it has like the personality. You play like a cyborg, and there was like the personality aspect to it.
yeah.
Refined Self. I thought
Yeah.
that looked really unique and interesting.
is.
We had, I think it's called Anton Blast. It looked like a indie Wario Land game.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit of a platformer. We had that cool puzzle game, Lorelei and the Laser Eye, that was really puzzly. Had a cool like cryptic art style. A lot of Mystique Europa, which is that like Ghibli open adventure-y
That
one.
looks like
We
Nino
got
Kuni.
TMNT. I'm a huge Turtles fan. I got Turtles shit
4-player
everywhere
Hades
in my game room. Shredder's Revenge was one of my favorites the year that it came out. So I thought that looked really cool. But yeah, I mean, there was a bunch. There was that Metroidvania one we just saw. I thought there was something there for everyone. Yeah, there was no like big blockbuster. I know the last thing was SteamWorld Heist 2, and the SteamWorld games are rad. SteamWorld Dig 2, I played the crap out of that game. So that studio is awesome. I'm sure that game's going to be great. But I mean, I feel like you got to set your expectations with Indie World. They never blow people off their rocker. And I know a lot of people were hoping for Silk Song and something of that. But honestly, in my opinion, I feel games like Silk Song and Hades have transcended that caliber of announcements. And those games are actually better suited for a general direct or state of play.
I agree.
More than
or,
likely,
an Xbox showcase.
Summer Games
That's my
Fest.
opinion.
The chat is insufferable on the indie directs with the freaking Silk Song thing every time.
Oh, absolutely.
And then just like saying anything else is trash. Like it's so annoying. Like why can't
It's
like
also not fair. It's not fair to
So,
Team Cherry. It's
they
not
should just
fair to
announce Silk
Thunderful.
Song's not going to be at this direct. Like if you want to be a little trying to keep it clean.
Trying to keep it
Want to
clean.
be a little
Yeah,
like,
a little.
yeah.
Oh, hey!
Then get out of here. All right, stop ruining it for everyone. It's just the chat's so toxic, and I hate it.
You
I don't
need
know.
a
The
you
chat
need a
was toxic
succession
before
of
the
those
thing even
prime-
began.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to touch a little bit on that, I agree. I thought this was a really good showcase, and frankly, I think I'm maybe slightly underwhelmed by some of the indie worlds of like last year. But I thought that the quality level of this showcase was really high. I mean, everything I saw there felt very different. There were some notable names like Way Forward having
Yeah.
a game there,
The
and
Teenage
Atari.
Ninja Turtles are my favorite indie franchise.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting one. But I mean, like Anton Blast and Laura and Laser Eye coming from Annapurna, and I've been looking forward to games like Shim and Another Crab's Treasure, and then seeing for whatever reason the game that I was most interested in there was the game called Stitch, which no one's mentioned yet.
Dude, me too. That's not the most, but I was literally
Stitch is
thinking
cool.
that's dropped today. You can play it now.
Yeah. I'm kind of broke right now. I had to pay $2,000 to fix my car the other day, so I'm $15 is kind of stretching it for me at the moment. But that game, I'm very big into Picross, and I think that the art style just looks amazing. So I thought this was a really, really very good indie showcase, and ending it with a game, new SteamWorld game. I mean, that is kind of the premier Nintendo indie series. SteamWorld Tower Defense was one of the first DSiWare games, and SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Dig 2 coming to Wii U and 3DS. Like they have a long history there, and so
Yeah,
seeing
and the card,
Thunderbolt-
and there's like the SteamWorld, the card game RPG one.
West, yeah, and Heist.
Oh yeah, I think Heist was like the most fun one. Dude, I had that on Wii U. And so now they're finally making a sequel to that one specifically. I'm excited for it for sure.
Yeah, but you got to feel a little bit bad for Thunderful Games because I'm sure they've been working on SteamWorld Heist 2 for a while. I'm sure it's gonna be very good, but everyone was hoping for Silk Song to close it out. And then every time I watch a reaction to this, people are like, "Oh, it's not Silk Song." It's like, well, it's still another great game from a great series.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
it's not fair to them, and it's also not fair to Team Cherry, who they were never planning to have their game in this direct. And now every time,
I
the
bet
entire
like,
day today, all of their
Yeah.
email inboxes are, where was your game? Why wasn't it there? That's not their fault. It's
I
people's
bet
fault for
less
getting
than
too high
5% of the people that spam Silksong in the chat beat Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
Can you imagine if the game comes out and it's actually trash?
that would be. Nice.
Dude, there's no way.
There's no way.
Dude, I played a demo of it at
There's no
E3
way.
2019 and it was already really good back then.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That team cares too much. They wouldn't take this long and then give you
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I just think that, like I said, I think Silksong I think it's transcended the indie world announcement.
I
We will
agree.
see it at
I
either
think that
a
is-
Nintendo
that's a
Direct or
general
Game
attack-
Fest.
announcement.
But you also mentioned Hades, which I wanted to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game because it looks so awesome. It literally looks like a Hades
looks
clone.
rad.
Yep, 4-player Hades.
Except you can do 4-player multiplayer, and if you can do that online, like that's
Yeah.
sick. And,
Yeah.
then,
And
and,
what's
like,
cool?
you can drop in anyone's game. So theoretically, one person can start a run and have just one friend or a few friends join, and then if the friend die, they can just rejoin the game again.
Not
Like, so you could technically always have it as long as the person who's hosting the run
Mike's
doesn't
shaking
die.
his head. Mike's shaking his head.
no, not if you nuzlocke it. Can't die, you can't bring it back. If he dies, he
Oh,
dies.
here we go.
No, but the game will allow you to rejoin because anyone can drop in at any time. You can just drop in again.
I'm picking on
He's
you.
just trolling Pokemon, the Nuzlocke stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, you got me. But no, that game looks so fun. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine? Like, it's probably not going to be as good as Hades, but
Sure.
it looks like it heavily borrows from.
So listen.
Like-
Let me make your day better. Do you have an Apple TV at home
No,
or anything Apple related? iPhone.
I have an iPhone.
Yeah, so that game has been out on iPhone for a while now. You can play it and then kind of stream it to your TV or something like that.
What, Hades?
No,
No, the Teenage
Oh,
the-
really?
yeah, the Ninja
Just
Turtles.
the thought of like being able to play like a Hades like game, and when I say it's like Hades, I don't mean the same genre. I mean they literally like if you've played Hades,
Yeah.
you can tell the
Looks
way
very similar.
that
Oh, you're right,
characters
you're right.
moving, that it was copying it specifically, which is a great game to copy.
It is.
There's tons
yeah.
of Breath of the Wild, clones out there, and none of them were as good as Breath of the Wild. But Hades itself is technically an indie game, so I
Yeah.
think you can get a lot closer. Trying to clone it, but thinking about doing that game with 4-player co-op is just so.
It
cool.
sounds
I'm-
sick. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hyped for that, and I'm actually probably
Just
one of
gonna-
the few people that has beat Cat Quest 1 and 2,
Mhm.
and those like games don't blow my mind, but they're such like comfort games for me, and they're so
Yeah.
relaxing. You can beat them pretty much in 1 or 2 sittings,
Hmm.
and so I am hyped for Cat Quest 3. That's
Cool.
another one that I was looking forward to.
Can I talk about this game real quick? Because I played a demo today, and in all honesty, I actually really did enjoy it. I know at the beginning, the opening scenes and the cinematics are kind of wonky. You know, the animation in the character when he's just looking around. But when you're actually in game in the engine and playing the actual game, it's so smooth. It's really really well built. And this is like wonky right here. This is like cinematics is kind of
Yeah, his nose looks weird.
You know what bugged me about this? His little backpack he always has on. It just like
it's
bothered me.
it's more like a tank where you fill with air, and that's what allows him to float. So you can actually kind of float in the air, and
It looks like the movement is really slick.
it is. So it kind of feels like a little bit when you're gliding with when you're in Tears of the Kingdom. So you kind of push up to jump, and then you push double push to kind of make it go higher and then glide down. It's just very smooth, very nice. The soundtrack, dude. The soundtrack for this game, it'll make you fall asleep because it's so soothing and so relaxing. I
Just
wish
super serene.
I wish I could turn it off, but it's beautiful. I mean, in a good way.
Hey Mike, in Europa, is there any combat mechanics in it, or is it like puzzle adventure? Because it looks like puzzle adventure, but I'm
It's
just
not-
curious if there's combat.
Yeah, so far in the demo, it's just puzzle adventure. The demo,
Okay, that's
only,
rad,
the,
though.
the demo only doesn't have puzzles, maybe just one or two, but it only takes you through like the explanation of how.
Here's the Ninja Turtles one playing on screen.
Yeah, so it only takes you through the explanation of how he got there to Europa, right, from planet Earth,
Mhm.
and so he's there. It mentions people, but the demo doesn't show you people. It's just him by himself, and the voice of his dad kind of guiding him through the.
Oh,
through
that's cool.
yeah.
It does look good. And again, I think that basically everything here
Pretty.
looked good. I mean, there's some games that I'm like gameplay wise, I'm not particularly interested in, but
Yeah.
everything looked quality. And I really love that in the indie worlds, unlike almost every other presentation, they give most of the devs a spotlight to introduce themselves and show a little bit of their studio and say why they're so passionate about talking about the games. And I think it gives it a much more personable touch that I really appreciate. And so I thought this was
Sure.
a fantastic showcase.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that look, I gave it like a C grade for myself because there wasn't a ton of stuff in there that like really interested me. I mean, this TMNT game that's being shown right now is one.
It literally looks like Hades.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it looks really really good. Kind of surprised me. I know we could joke around. Oh, TMNT and an indie showcase. Well, the studio's an indie studio, so take that for what it is. But it just looks phenomenal. I thought Europa is just like a kind of an exploration, casual puzzle sort of game. Looked very interesting to me as well. But for the most part, a lot of the games really weren't for me, but they did all look high quality. And that's like how I judge things when I try to consider opinions on my own. Because I know a lot of people were like, oh, this was a D or an F. And I'm like, well, look, if there were no games for you on a personal level, I can understand those grades. But I always consider others. So it's very hard for any presentation to ever get like a D or an F from me.
Yeah.
Because as long like Nintendo, I think in every indie world I've ever watched, I've never walked away thinking that any of the games they show were bad video games. They just might not be my particular taste.
Mhm.
Because you got to remember, Nintendo can show billions. Like I saw some people saying that like this was shovelware. It ain't shovelware games.
No, none of these are shovelware. Are you kidding
None are
me?
even close to shovelware games. So
No,
like,
people are
Nintendo's
just bitter
very
about
still-
Silksong.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really
And that's
what it
fine.
is.
Or on the other hand, I think that
Yeah.
some people are like maybe a little bit disappointed in like some of these games being originated on Apple Arcade, and I completely disagree with that. I think there's a lot of great games on Apple Arcade. I think one in specific.
Yeah,
that
we
gets
gotta stop
into
insulting phone games, by
yeah,
the way.
no, totally. But I mean, like, I'm just glad that that TMNT game and Stitch are leaving Apple Arcade or exclusivity because now more people can play these games that are presumably very, very good. And for me, the one specific one is Sonic Dream Team I played last year. I think is one of the best 3D Sonic games.
Dude, for
exclusive to
real.
Apple Arcade.
For
When
real.
did that game come to other consoles? Holy shit!
For real. Listen, I'm very like critique of Sonic because you know it's like just fine. He always goes fast. But that one game, you know, on Apple TV, that one I loved.
It's really good. It's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think too. I honestly like people are very hungry for newer and bigger things from Nintendo. People are anxious about Switch 2. People are anxious about the next General Direct. And you know, like you mentioned earlier in the show, it's been a while now since we've gotten like a big Nintendo announcement. So I think until we get that big Direct or until we get that Switch 2 reveal, people are just going to be upset. People are just going to be like, this sucks. So
Yeah.
I think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
to be
I mean,
honest.
look, a lot of the negative reaction, I think, and I'm actually working on a video for this separate from my VG News stuff. I was supposed to go out today, but I just got too busy. Talking about kind of the negativity that's happening in the online Nintendo fan space, because I think a lot of us are just really anxious.
Yep.
We've gone, I just mentioned earlier, a long time that since Nintendo's announced an actual internal developed game.
Yeah.
They got Metroid Prime 4 just floating out there forever. People would like to know if that's going to come this year. No confirmation that if that's going to be this year or not. We were all excited for the Pokemon thing, and then they announced a really exciting game, Pokemon Legends EA, for 2025. So there's like nothing announced past June. All the games we do get this year, the best ones are ports and remasters. Princess Peach Showtime underwhelmed a lot of people, although it's a very specific game at a specific audience, and I think a lot of us just gave a chance because we're desperate for something to play brand new that's exclusive to the platform. So
I was actually doing the math the other day. Between WarioWare Move It and Princess Peach Showtime is the longest gap between original Nintendo published titles, I think, almost ever. Because even when you think about, okay, Wii U had some gaps, there were still 3DS to fill in those gaps. Yeah, so that I think felt very interesting to me, that specific gap between original titles, because I didn't play Mario vs. Donkey Kong. I didn't play Another Code, which are I've heard they're fine games, but I'm always excited for that next thing published by Nintendo because I think they have a great track record. Obviously, I think we all agree with that. And I was just like curious. I'm like, man, it's been a long time since an original game was published by Nintendo. It'd been like, what? It's like 4 months at that point.
Yeah. I mean, so you have that going on. The third party showcase was cool, but it didn't show like any like major exciting stuff. In the Xbox announcements were maybe the most exciting, but that was all kind of already spoiled ahead of time. So it wasn't shocking as it might have been if Microsoft didn't have to address it ahead of time. And then Endless Ocean Luminous is great, but again, not developed by Nintendo, also extremely niche. So
and Nintendo doesn't seem very interested in promoting that game specifically. It's by the time it comes out, if there's not a Nintendo Direct in the next like 9 days, it will have never shown up in a main Nintendo Direct. And we were talking before the stream started. I think that's basically one of the only times that Nintendo has just never advertised one of their games. The only other examples we could think of were things from like more casual things like Ring Fit and everybody went to Switch. But Endless Ocean, I think, deserves a bigger chance. I've got the 2 Wii games here just for a little prop comedy.
Nice.
And it'd be really cool to see that be given a push. And unfortunately, it's landing at a time where a game like that should be a second game of its month that people are, that there's a bunch of other stuff coming out around it, but it fills in a gap and it has the space to get advertised in main directs. But because there's no big games coming up, they're not having directs, which means the smaller game can't be advertised to the bigger audience. And I think it's going to suffer because of that, which is really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree, and I think examples like Ring Fit, like they have a level of novelty to them because they have these really cool mechanics that you're seeing in the commercials for them with people working out with the Pilates ring and stuff like that, to where they're probably able to get away with not doing a big direct pushes with those, and people are still going to be curious, and it's so, like, again, it's such a novel idea that it's going to be the talk, whereas a game like Endless Ocean is super niche. It doesn't have this weird, quirky novelty, and I think it's gonna kind of go under the radar for a lot of people. I think you could get away with doing Twitter trailer drops for games like Paper Mario because people are going to share it and it's going to spread and get exposure. Not so sure about Endless Ocean. So, as someone who likes that series, I'm a little bit bummed that it's probably gonna slip through the cracks for most people.
It's not a big loss. It's just Endless Ocean. It has to come to an end. I mean, they dropped the trailer.
It's called Endless, Mike.
Endless. The endless.
It never ends.
But they did release a trailer today, right? 5-minute trailer, and they released it on their YouTube channel and on Twix. About the game, so that's I think that's a promotion for them, right?
Well, they're promoting it. Yes, it's just not the same attention that it would get when you get millions and millions of views with all the YouTubers and big IGN or everyone co-streaming and showing it off. Like, it's just not getting the exposure it normally would. But
yeah, I agree. Maybe it's because it's not that big of an IP. It's just like a little niche. It's a smaller niche than Metroid. That's sure. I mean, it's been an hour on Nintendo. It only has 6,000 views.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very small niche. And at least the small niche people right here. I'm reading the comments. They're all super excited about the game. So.
Sure. It has fans of the game that played it back on Wii. It's just again, it's a niche game. And I think that lineup is what's making people just kind of ultra critical of this indie world, because again, we talked about how Silksong wasn't there, and we know it's coming. It's been rated at a bunch of places. It's clearly coming out this year at this point. When they want to show it, I don't know. Maybe they decide to show it at their own showcase. Maybe they decide to do their own thing. Yeah. Maybe they're partnering. Maybe they already have a plan and they've already partnered with Jeff Keighley to do.
I think that's most likely
a big summer Game Fest drop at that event.
Yeah.
That's possible as well. Jeff Keighley would love to have that game. There's so much anticipation for it.
Jeff has actually been making a lot of efforts recently to have more premier indie creators be featured at his showcases. If you remember the Game Awards last year, we got the next game from House, who made Untitled Goose Game called Big Walk. We got World of Goo 2 from Tomorrow Corporation. We got the next game from the guy who made Inscription, and the next game from the people who made Dead Cells. Like, he knows the audience for these games flocks to this, and putting those games on a bigger stage, I think obviously only benefits them. And Team Cherry knows that they are one of the ones that people are looking forward to and are interested in the most. I mean, every single showcase, whether that's Xbox or the AAA showcase or a Nintendo Direct or the partner showcase or an indie showcase. They could show up anywhere, but I think that they know that they obviously have taken the time and they can be on the biggest stage possible. And Jeff also knows that. I think that there's a connection there that is going to happen.
I also think
Let's talk to Jeff about Endless Ocean.
Good point. Yeah.
so I also think I have to go back. I have to go back and look. I should have did this before the show. You guys remember when they announced it for Xbox and they said all the games
Yeah.
were showing out coming out in the next 12 months?
Yep.
Well, didn't they also say all the games being shown right now are going to be on Game Pass?
It is going to be on Game Pass.
Okay,
yes,
so
it's
if it's going to be on Game Pass, I wonder if there's a marketing exclusivity right there
It's
where
possible.
we're actually not going to see it till that Xbox showcase that's
Sure.
happening right after Summer Game Fest as well. And
Ah.
they might, because again, to be on Game Pass, Microsoft gave them money.
Yeah.
So there could be, in return, we are the ones that get to market this game. It still releases on all platforms at the same time, but we want to market it. So it also could just be this wasn't an Xbox event. It's going to be on Game Pass. So that's maybe when we should expect it as well. And again, that's happening, I think, 3 days after or 4 days after or something, Summer Game Fest event. It's part of that whole week
Mhm.
of Summer Game Fest stuff. So
Yeah.
that could also be why we haven't seen it and why it wasn't here. And I think Nintendo fans get anxious about that because we haven't seen Nintendo related showing of this since 2019.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So like, oh, Xbox, oh, PlayStation confirmed it's coming to PlayStation 2. Okay, cool.
It's confirmed every year.
But, oh, Xbox is the last one to actually show the game. And now and that literally could just be why. One thing I do want to say is that people that are getting really upset about this, one, if you're mad at Nintendo, it's not Nintendo didn't get to decide whether the game was shown or not. Just to
Yeah,
be
of course
very
not.
clear, if Team Cherry came to them and said we want to show our game, Nintendo would have put it in the indie showcase.
Absolutely.
But because then they probably would have kicked it off with Steam World Heist 2 and then ended it with that game. That probably would have been how the Nintendo would have handled that. But what I will say is that what I have seen online that's really bothering me about the Silksong situation is people going after Team Cherry.
Yeah.
And that needs to stop. These are just 3 people, guys.
Yeah.
That are putting everything into this game. Their first game got way bigger than they ever thought it was going to be. And so they probably wanted to go bigger and better than ever with a sequel because, hey, look, we made all this money. We want to put it back into the game.
Yeah.
And problem with doing that is they could have bit off so much more that they could choose. So many crazy ideas that just it was even beyond their capabilities. That's why it took so much longer to develop in addition to COVID and everything. So it's one of those things that like, I know we always want our games now. I get it. And I get that they announced the game shortly after the first one came out. That was maybe a mistake in hindsight, but I do think that we need to be more understanding that this is a small indie studio. If this game flops, that's the end of the studio. That is it. So they can't have it flop. So let them do what they think they need to do to deliver the highest quality product they can. And if that meant they had to take Microsoft money because they were hurting for funding a couple of years ago and they were worried about getting to the finish line, and then Microsoft's like, hey, we'll give you some money, put this thing on Game Pass day one. And they're like, thank you, yes. And that allowed them to get to where they are now. Let's let them show the game. It's going to happen at some point. It's been submitted to rating boards. For those who don't know what that means, because people always are like, well, that doesn't mean anything. You can't submit a game that isn't content complete to ratings boards because they have to go through your content. Now, you are supposed to submit your worst content to them for the rate. When I say worst, like the content that's going to get it rated, higher up. But the point is you got to be content complete to even submit to the rating boards. That doesn't mean the game's done, but it's content complete, which means it's probably coming at some point this year. So be a little nicer to some, especially these small studios. I get being really mean to Ubisoft and some of the bad management decisions and stuff they've done. Ubisoft, whatever. Be mean to me. Be a dick to me. But these small developers where their literal livelihood depends on if this game does well, let's maybe just chill a little bit. They already know they're feeling the pressure. You think Nintendo's feeling the pressure. They're really feeling the pressure.
Well, especially because Silksong has it's loudly become like, oh, hey, it's Andres Restart. Welcome to the show, everyone, ladies and gentlemen.
Miami lose.
Part of the show, Andres Restart. I was saying,
he half arrived.
Silksong has become like the next
Go Sixers.
Half-Life 3 or like or like the next Smash game of like people just like, where's this game? Where's this game? It's going to be one of the biggest games of all time. Always people asking about it, which is not the devs' fault, and they're just overwhelmed.
Sure. So, Andres, how you feeling about that indie world? Let's get you away from the Miami Heat losing. We know.
Oh, look at him.
Sorry that you probably got to face the Celtics round 1 now. But
First off, I just want him to get rest. I'm just pissed that Kelly Oubre kicked Jimmy Butler in the knee and was hobbled after the game. Like after that, like it always happens.
Stop being a baby.
So jacked.
so here's what happened.
I am not
Miami-
to be messed
Miami's
with right
about
now.
to win the 8th seed, and they're
I
going.
thought you were gonna say, "I am not a baby."
Crazy. In the West,
Andres,
the difference between the 1 seed. Whoa, Nate. Let me just say this: in the West, the difference between the 1 seed and the 10 seed is a smaller gap than the difference between the 1 seed and the 2 seed in the East. That's
Yeah,
how
you realize-
dominant the Celtics have been.
Okay, that's cute and everything. We could talk about their record against playoff teams because it's not actually that impressive.
I
But-
think they're like against
but-
the top 3 seeds. They're 10-3.
Go Lakers.
But
Regular
listen.
season.
Here's what I'm going to say. You just got to look at it like this, Andres. You're going to probably win the 8th seed because I don't know how Miami's going to lose to those two
I
shitty
mean,
teams.
it was a good game, honestly. It was
Yeah, it was a good
It could
game.
have gone either way.
And I think the 76ers are going to bounce the Knicks anyways. But what I find fascinating is you have the chance to do what you did last year. Consensus best team in the NBA. Eliminate them round 1, baby. Get those Celtics out of the playoffs.
That's funny.
And then lose again.
I'm just saying, get them out of here. Dude, that zone defense you guys were playing was sick. That was a sick defense.
It
That
was
was
good.
crazy. It wasn't a 2-3. It wasn't a boxing 1. It wasn't a 1. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was. I've never seen a zone defense like that. That was insane.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the game.
Well, I didn't care who won. So I don't.
Yeah, you could just
I gotta
enjoy
worry
it.
about. I gotta worry about not having Giannis and losing to the Pacers. So
Well, we definitely didn't lose the game because of Tyler Hero, though. Anyway,
anyways,
Um,
what do you think of the indie world, man?
yeah, it was cool. I'm actually curious about the Europa game.
Mhm.
That looks pretty fun.
Let me
Mike Odyssey, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the Cat Quest game looks like a fun co-op game as well.
right.
Uh,
Nice.
Yeah,
Did you play the first 2?
no,
Oh, I see. They're really fun. They
Yeah.
go on sale for cheap on the eShop all the time. I recommend them. You can beat them like a day or 2.
It's
All right.
99 cents on the Apple Store.
cool. Oh, that's pretty cheap. Yeah, yeah, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it was an indie world. There'll be a couple small games that are kind of interesting. Hey, we actually saw some Switch gameplay for Another Crab's Treasure. It definitely looked worse than from the partner showcase, but you know, I'm still hyped for the game. So
Yeah.
That's it. I don't got much else to say. It was neat.
Is there anything on there you would actually buy, Andres, or actually play?
I mentioned it. Europa. Europa looks cool. I'm gonna play the demo.
Okay.
uh,
So you would actually buy that?
We'll see how I feel after I play the demo.
See, I called it. I was like, Andres wouldn't buy anything. Here.
Listen, Andre, I played. Let me read the review. Hold on.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
God,
now
not
Mike, we're
again.
good. We're good.
Andres, you're the type of player that like really likes the AAA games more.
No, I play indie games.
For
I
the
was playing-
most, unless they're like bigger.
I was playing a short hike a couple days ago.
You
Oh,
were?
that's such a good
Yeah.
game. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that game so much.
I haven't played that.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Celeste is
great
one of my
game for
favorite.
speed running.
Favorite indie games. Love Celeste.
I like Celeste too.
Celeste was really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe-
I was
maybe-
talking about my stream how I'm a huge fan of Shinen.
It's funny, we were talking about Hollow Knight a lot. Celeste, I feel like, is just like the platforming parts of Hollow Knight.
Oh yeah.
Hollow Knight
I-
is Celeste plus combat.
I need to play Hollow Knight.
I have not played Hollow Knight the first one yet either.
Yeah.
That game's
Yeah.
gorgeous on the
Dude,
OLED.
Hollow
Oh,
Knight's
it's, like,
Hollow Knight's
so
great.
pretty on
It's
OLED.
great. If you like Metroidvania games, Hollow Knight's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, quick question. Of here in the panel, who here thinks Tears of the Kingdom was a mistake?
What the hell are you talking about?
Right back.
Are you-
Whoa!
Just so you cut-
What
you
are we?
You cut
I don't know
out
that.
for a second. I didn't hear what he said.
Yeah, wait a second. Whoa.
The mistake.
Andres, I
Mistake?
missed your question.
Who here thinks Tears of the Kingdom is a mistake?
I think part of it is
Wait, what?
Wait, Andres, hold on. Set the stage. Why are you asking this question?
Oh, you already know why I'm asking this question.
Because someone on here thinks that.
No, just think about it. Really, someone here does. Who is the someone? Because I am
Mike,
looking.
Mike just said, I kind of think it
I
was.
know, but I don't take it. He said kinda. He still liked it.
Listen, I think it's a mistake that the game does not have DLC.
Oh, sure.
That's a completely different question.
Yeah, that's different. I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's things I could have done to improve the game, right?
Oh, here we go.
Because I mean, it
All
was-
right. Was the game a mistake? Like, should it not even exist, Mike?
No, never, dude. That's like the best.
All right.
That's the game of the year for 2023.
Basically, I'm low key looking for someone for my next heated debate episode.
Oh,
Right. Yeah.
I can pretend.
I didn't. My synapses didn't connect there, but yeah.
That's why I told you should know because I was DMing you.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
but
yeah.
we couldn't think of a.
Well, then you should maybe take a different angle. Maybe take the DLC versus not DLC angle. You'll find tons of creators that think it's just DLC.
Or you
That's a
can
good
take,
one.
you can take that like for example, right now the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are a copy of each other, right? It's like DLC.
Yeah, that's what I just said. The DLC angle, like that.
Yeah.
That would be one you'd easily
Or-
find a creator.
Well,
for to do
okay.
that.
Who here
Absolutely.
thinks Tears of the Kingdom is basically just DLC?
Nope.
I think we're the problem is we're on the
Always
same
Mike.
page.
Yeah, it looks
Well, yeah, I don't know of anyone on this show, but I would say
know.
there
Maybe
are
Mike-
content
maybe Mike-
creators.
Mike,
you know,
sit
you
on
know,
it. Sit on it.
Mike's like, yeah, okay.
I
Let me
mean,
ruminate.
it's very repetitive and it shows a lot of the same kind of things from Breath of the Wild. For example, the towers are replaced by something else, but they're still towers. The shrines are replaced by something else, but they're still the same kind of like, sting, you know?
All right. Think about this and hit me up.
You can make
Yeah,
that
yeah,
argument.
yeah,
If
like,
you
we're
can
not having
actually
the debate
defend
now.
that point,
The
That-
debate isn't happening live right now. This is for his heated debate show. By
Like
the way,
every Zelda
by the
game
way,
ever has
are you
temples.
happy with how it performed, Andres?
I think it.
Does it make
Listen,
them the
it was a
same game?
quick discussion. They got 3,500 views and it's still growing. It was a Metroid topic, and
People
everyone
aren't shitting
really-
on me too bad. I thought they'd shit on me
No.
hardcore for taking
that was
the
like-
negative side.
I think someone called you a hobbit, and I thought it was a compliment at first.
No, that was not a compliment. I
That's
read
I
a
that.
thought it
bizarre-
was.
That
I was
not-
like,
people calling
yo,
me a hobbit is not a compliment.
I love Hillball Baggins.
No, I'm
First,
not
I
gonna
didn't-
lie, that was me, Andres.
Actually, I think people are pretty overall. I was
That's so
actually
jacked.
Damn
surprised
Hobbit.
by how well received it was. So yeah, it's not done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Anyway, so I wasn't
All right.
calling you a hobbit, just for the record. But
I know you weren't. It was the
Brutal.
I saw who it was, and I was like, I wonder what Andres thinks about that comment. Now I know you thought it was a compliment at first.
I hearted it. I thought it was a cool comment.
I know. I was like, oh my god, he's in.
I didn't realize
I
it was a
hearted
dig at
it
you.
too.
I didn't realize it at first. I was like, wait a minute.
Hobbits
well.
are smart and
That was like one of the few negative comments that was specifically
Andres
about
is like,
me.
hell yeah, Tolkien, dude.
Yeah,
Jeez,
for real.
for real. Oh man,
But so what are we supposed to be talking about?
indie
Sorry.
world
Was-
reactions, thoughts, etc. Yeah, That's
Yeah,
what
but
I'm
I,
doing.
I told you what I thought. I thought it was neat.
Did we go
Couple
through
games
everyone?
helped.
That was neat. How would you grade it? Let's go around. How would
Um,
we grade it with the North American grading scale?
what is that one? ABC?
Well, I can't
Oh, no, but-
grade it. I can't grade it on the
ABCD or
level.
ABCDF.
I can't grade on the level of a direct because it's not a direct. It just
No.
doesn't.
No, yeah. You're grading it on the level of an indie.
Yeah, so based off that, I would say there's a couple games I want to give it a try. I would give it it's like a C plus at worst. I'll just settle with a B and just try not to be a negative Nancy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I just give it a C, but I don't think a C is bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Let-
par
let-
for the course.
Let's debate that. Let's debate-
Maybe C is more fair than B. Maybe I'm being too optimistic.
but I think
They are a harsh grader. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I personally, I would go with an A. I thought almost everything that I was
Cheese hates
interested in, and I think that the quality level across the board was just a lot higher than some previous ones, and so I was actually pretty surprised that I was like, hey, like 75% of the games here I want to try, which is like an unheard of level.
Yeah.
it didn't bore me or anything like that, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, well paced too.
I compared to other indie worlds, I give it an A.
Yeah, sure.
Compared to I'm like grading it against other indie worlds in the past, not against partner showcases or Nintendo Directs, just on it in its own category. I feel like it's an A. None of the games were boring at all. They were all intriguing in a way, right? I didn't want to play all of them, but there's some games I wanted to play. And then I think the audience overall, and obviously at least in my chat, they were pretty okay with the game lineup. And at the end, when we didn't see the Hollow Knight Silk Song, yeah, some of them were upset, but the majority were okay with the game they showed. So,
Yeah, I've rating it as an indie world. I actually really enjoyed this one. I'm gonna give it a B. I think there was something there for everyone. Like I said earlier, we had the platformers, we had the puzzle games, we had the open world adventure games, we had the Metroidvania. There was something for everyone. I'm interested. Nothing wowed me, nothing blew my mind, but there's a handful of things that I'm at least, if I'm not ready to just try it, I'm interested in seeing more and seeing if maybe it's a game for me.
No farming sims, automatic D. No.
That's actually true. I mean, there were some
Yeah.
types of games that we're used to seeing show up in all this stuff that
They did. Yeah, it did.
yeah. I think a lot
Yeah,
of
and-
stuff felt very different. I mean, games like
Mhm.
Shim and Stitch are like those aren't games I've never seen. There's not games like that. So it's just very
Yeah.
interesting that they were able to grab some unique stuff. And I mean, people don't really make games like SteamWorld Heist. I mean, that kind of
Sure.
that
Oh yeah.
2D turn-based.
It's like the
strategy.
worms.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. I think it's very
Yeah.
interesting. And I'm seeing some comments here in the chat that are like, hey, just be honest. It's okay to have an opinion. Yeah, okay. My opinion was that it was great. I'm excited about the games. I'm not
In my
lying to you
opinion,
about
is that your opinion is wrong.
Fair enough. Hey, heated debate?
Oh, let's go.
Your opinion on this is that you're wrong. This indie world, you're wrong.
There was
I also think TMNT knocked it up a point for me, just because
TMNT's
I
in
love
there somewhere.
TMNT stuff.
this
This
game.
game seemed interesting.
Dude,
I'm not
this
gonna
game
buy
is
it,
what
though.
knocks
Oh
it
no,
out.
but this game though,
Yeah.
I actually liked. It
This
gave
game
me
Like
kind of reminded me
Royals.
of Wario game
Hey,
actually.
Valley
Yeah.
Peaks, that game looks awesome.
Oh,
I
this
love
game
that.
too. I forgot about that. This feels like a sequel to a Short Hike. Oh, and
It's
then
first
yours
person,
is
This
like-
one, this game. Yeah, this one.
You're,
Yeah.
you're a frog though. You're a frog, and you're like just gliding around. When,
Oh, the Frogger game too.
Here's
Actually,
an interesting
Yeah.
comparison, actually. I don't
This
know if
game
any of
looks
you
rad
ever
as well,
played-
I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
Royal and Lasers? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Siren of the Wild Heart's one of the best
Our victory
indie games on
game.
Switch. But I don't know if any of you guys have ever played the game A Story About My Uncle, but that is very similar to Valley Peaks. It's a first-person like grappling hook platformer. I love that game, but this game also has a short hike art style, like Andres was saying.
So what did your uncle make? What did your
Are you asking what the name of the game is, or are you trying to make a joke? Can't tell.
no? She said something about your uncle.
Jack Quest 3. Here we go.
There's a game that I played on Steam, and I'm not sure if it's
Type
on other
6
things.
looks pretty
It's
cool.
called A Story About My Uncle. That's the name of the game.
Okay.
I thought it was a great game. I played it like a
I thought
decade
you
ago.
Have you
recommended
played
it.
a story about my cousin?
Uh-huh.
I literally thought you were recommending a game that your
God.
uncle played. That game, the game where the personality test is actually really intriguing too. The one that you
It
kind of,
looks so
Yeah.
cool.
Great
Yeah.
color palette on that one.
yeah, the robot who lost its creator because he died, and all of a sudden she's on her own and she has to discover herself and try to make her choices. And then you have, depending on the choices you make throughout the story, you end up being whether like there's like 15 characters, either an adventurer or a doctor or whatever, and you don't choose at the end what you're gonna be, but depending on the choices you make, you're kind of guided towards a certain path, which is really cool. It's like a
Yeah,
cozy kind of,
conceptually.
yeah.
Conceptually, I like it. Gameplay wise, it didn't I think the idea behind it's cool, but the gameplay didn't grab me.
Oh, I disagree. It grabbed me.
I disagree with your disagreement
we
because
go.
it's my
Heated debate.
opinion and it is
Heated
what it
debate.
is.
Shut up.
Whoa, I'm so heated right now. All right.
Let's get mad.
Personality test game debate.
Yeah,
Yes, there you go. That's
Yeah.
the million view video.
yeah.
All right.
It is. I agree though. I'm not trying to poo on this. Like I think it's a really really like interesting concept, but I am being serious though. The gameplay personally for me didn't grab me. Like I don't see myself buying the game, even though I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a cool idea. Like unless I see it for like 99 cents, I'm probably not gonna buy it.
Sure.
So this podcast is sponsored by Aura. Secure your privacy and identity today with a 14-day trial and help support the channel. Check out the http //
That's a colon.
So
You ever heard
hard.
of colon?
Colin, I don't know what is going on with you, Mike.
Hire him now, bro.
How much
Hire
you getting
him
paid,
now.
Mike? How much you getting paid for this?
I don't get paid anything if people don't sign up.
Get
so.
it paid by the word, so that's why I'm like reading everything.
There you go.
Dude, when
Uh,
you don't
it-
know, you
it's,
just make it up.
Yeah.
No, I know what I'm getting
Well, I
paid.
do.
It's on a per sign up. It's a 14-day free trial, by the way. It's protect your identity today. And here I'll drop it in the chat as well. It is an amazing thing. A bunch of us already use it. I know Joycey J uses it, Eric uses it, I use it. My mom uses it. My fiance uses it. Because
I'm
it's,
using it right now.
it's like a legit, a really good. It'll get rid of your phone numbers, it'll get rid of your emails on all these websites, so you get less spam calls, less spam texts.
You'll be off the grid. Off the grid.
Yeah, it kind of takes you off the grid a bit to protect your identity. It'll let you know if your identity is ever stolen, if you want to enable that sort of protection with your social security card or not. That's up to
Maybe
you.
it'll decrease the chances of you not getting robbed or having your channel hacked.
Yes, actually it does, because Aura also has double encryption for your passwords, which is one thing Eric loves using for everything, which is why I had to redo passwords for things to log in today. No, I'm just kidding.
I still haven't changed the ESPN one yet.
Yeah.
That is coming, because I'm
The
sick of it
Peacock
yelling at me.
password, typing that in sucks.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. No one's stealing your Peacock.
No.
I'm a peacock. You gotta let me spread my wings and fly.
Right.
I love that movie. Anyways, let's get into our next topic, because look, things are a little weird with Nintendo right now. We kind of touched on it a little bit during the whole Indie World thing. Like, hey, we're on this really long gap between general Nintendo Directs, the longest gap we've had outside of the 2020 COVID year. During the Switch era, it's the longest gap we've had between general directs. It's like 7 months or something at this point, which is insane. On top of that, obviously, there's nothing big coming out past June. You could argue whether any of the games coming out so far this year are big or not. That's going to be very subjective. Lots of ports and remasters, and 2 brand new games, technically, with Princess Peach Showtime, Endless Ocean Luminous. Also, news came out this week that Nintendo is not attending Gamescom, even though they did attend it last year, where while they didn't have a whole bunch of public demos, they were demoing Super Mario Wonder behind the scenes. And obviously we know about the Switch 2 stuff, but specific for Switch, they were demoing Super Mario Wonder behind the scenes to media so they could put out previews and do all that stuff. And Nintendo, their reasoning to not be there this year is basically, well, when considering our entire slate of whatever, it doesn't make sense to do it this year, which makes a lot of people feel like, oh, Nintendo has no big game like a Mario Wonder coming this year.
I had a thought on that.
Yeah, we'll get to that thought in a moment. Let's get to that thought right now. Let's actually do that right now, because this has to do with Nintendo's 2024 game plan. I'll talk about my theory later with Switch 2 related to this, but let's get to this. What are your thoughts on this, Andres?
So yeah, actually, I talked a little bit about it in my video today, specifically with the Gamescom thing. Like, some people are kind of wondering, is Nintendo mad about the Gamescom leaks? Because that's where we got like the Matrix demo and the Breath of the Wild 4K 16 quick loading demo, supposedly. And I thought about it. Maybe Nintendo is mad about that, but I don't think that would stop them from going. That might stop them from.
Yeah, they might not Switch 2 stuff there, but they can still promote Switch like they did with Mario Wonder.
They'll do the official things.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The on the record things, right? Like the Mario Wonder, I believe Pikmin 4 and Tears of the Kingdom were there as well.
Yes.
And so I thought about it. Those 3 games were the 3 big new games for last year.
Yeah.
So if Nintendo's not going to have a Gamescom this year, we kind of think about it now. We don't have a big May game like Tears of the Kingdom, right?
There's no Nintendo Live announced yet either.
No. But we also don't have a July
There could be
game.
there's still time for that, but
way time.
There's still time, but the point I'm making is that by this point last year, we at least knew about Tears of the Kingdom and Pikmin 4, right? We don't have games like that this year that we know about, and so what I'm thinking is maybe there's just not as many big new Nintendo games like those 3 from last year. Maybe there's 1, maybe there's even 2, but there's just not enough for them to feel that it's warranted to be at Gamescom.
Yeah.
So
here's an interesting question, actually.
Yeah.
Would we? Because they're not going to have no games for the rest of the year. There are going to be some. It might be more remakes. It might be collections. It might be things like the Zelda remakes or something.
It could literally be just like the first half of this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a couple smaller new games, some remakes, some collections, whatever. Now, the question I want to ask is, do you think you would prefer if Nintendo showed up to things like Gamescom and had a Nintendo Live with that slate of games, or if they didn't go at all? And because I draw into comparison some of the later years of Wii U, where they would show up at a conference and they would just have like, Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn and like Mario Tennis Ultra Smash and like a couple of small things as all that they had, because it was like all the games that were coming out. But the fact that they still went and only had smaller things gave people a very negative perception of Nintendo at that time. Like, wow, like it's just, these small crappy games, like that's all you can bring. I think that if they had not gone in those years, that obviously it wouldn't really matter too much in the long run, but the negative sentiment I think would have been quelled a little bit if they realized like we should only go to these things when people are going to react positively to them. And I think that might be the case this year. There's going to be some games, but I think that people might not react positively if they show up and it's just some collections and smaller games and stuff. What do you guys think of that?
I agree with that sentiment. But that also is exactly what people are actually not happy with, is that
True. That's a good point.
A lot, they're like, look, I understand, folks, and I've seen some of the comments in the chat, like, yes, Nintendo's had like a game every single month, multiple games, like there's not a game technically this month exclusive, but we got two next month that kind of makes up for it. I understand that, but none of these games are like bumping system sales and stopping the downtrend in sales. None of none of these games are selling like launching. You're not hearing things from Nintendo like, this had a record launch like Tears of the Kingdom and Wonder did.
I think that at this point, man, like if you haven't been tempted by the game library at this point, with any of the releases that have happened to buy a Switch, you're not buying a Switch.
Of course.
No. I hear what you're saying, but the thing is, like, you could say that Switch is still selling and is still selling better than Xbox. So it's still appealing and still reaching new consumers that are buying Switches for the first time today. I think what we have to remember when we're talking about this is the general consumer base doesn't pay attention like we do. No. We know about all these games and all the great value and stuff, and reasons you should buy a Switch. My grandmother has no idea what the hell's on it. She doesn't know.
And if they announced a new Zelda game, your grandma probably still wouldn't give a shit.
No. I'm not. You kidding? This is what happens. Let me finish my point.
I'm hearing
my point is that my grandmother, as an example, bought a Switch recently, brand new, for my third cousin or whatever, because they're now like 5 years old and ready to play games.
That was going to be my argument. The people buying Switches would be like people with kids that are getting to be in that age. The Switch has been out.
Well, like, I think that's a pretty gross generalization.
There's some people that weren't alive when the Switch came out that are now old enough to start gaming. So, of course, it's going to sell stuff when it's one of the biggest systems out there. But I don't think what games they release this year is going to be what convinces anyone to buy them. It's not going to be like, oh, I wasn't going to buy a Switch, but now because there's a new Mario game, I'm going to buy one. Yeah. But I didn't want to buy one when the first.
So your argument is that big games won't sell more units anymore?
I don't think so. I think Nintendo knows that.
So we didn't get a boost in sales that led to 2023 summer outselling 2022 summer because Tears of the Kingdom came out.
Well, sure. That's
a big game selling system.
Yeah, but also a lot of those sales were the special edition.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that.
Like those are double dippers.
But I also think that be mad that they're just doing like the entire Switch life cycle. People are like, add these games, like add this system to Nintendo Online, like do these collections, and then the final year when they're like, okay, like we don't really need to release any new games, or we want to make Switch 2's launch lineup awesome, so we're gonna save some stuff, and we're giving you all the collections and remasters you've asked for this whole time. We're like, all right, this is your year. We're going to give you everything that you wanted. People are like, they're just giving us remasters and collections. What the hell? And it's like, no wonder Nintendo doesn't listen to people, because they say they want one thing and then they don't really appreciate it.
Well, for starters, listening to the internet is always a silly thing. Their consumer base is so much bigger than any of these individual websites, communities.
They look at like Twitter discourse and stuff like that. If it's like trending and it has enough numbers,
dude, there's more people using Nintendo Switches every month than are using Twitter every month. Like the active user base. Yeah, Nintendo has like 120 million active users. Twitter has like 500 million users, but they only have like 100 million active every month. So
I also feel like
Nintendo's community, I don't think they're worried about Twitter reactions. I think they're basing their releases on a couple of things. Like we're seeing it as an example. Why is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door and Mario RPG coming back? Look at the polls they're sending out to the user base. They're trying to gauge interest in Mario RPG style games to make future development decisions, probably for Switch 2. And you're seeing that in the so like I think a lot of it isn't so much, we're trying to cater to fans. I think we're trying to decide if people actually want to buy this stuff. So we're
agree. They sales. of course.
So like, I don't think it's
That's the
like
biggest
fans
game
demand.
of
Fans have been
anything.
demanding the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess for the last 5 years. We still don't have it. So like, they're not listening per se to everything. They're just trying to gauge what they think will increase sales, because the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess aren't going to affect sales of the next big
other
Zelda game.
aspect of that, it's not just increased sales. They also don't want to hurt sales of their own franchises. Like, they wouldn't want like less people to buy, whatever came out like a couple months after Tears of the Kingdom by like releasing it at the same time. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I agree. So they wouldn't
They
have
don't
put out
wanna
Pikmin 4
compete
like
with
a week
themselves.
after Tears of the Kingdom. They waited 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. And they like space stuff out like that. So that's also part of it. When they're releasing like a Zelda thing, they're trying to every year. They don't want to release too much and take away sales from one thing because Zelda fans like this Zelda thing more, and then split the fan base, thus splitting the sales. They would rather release it in ways where people will buy both.
I think that's true. Yeah, I mean that was actually explicitly a problem with Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Not saying that those two games have released close together, but there's actually some research that shows that people are more likely to buy similar games on separate systems if they only come once a generation. And I think that obviously that's a more extreme version of what Daddy. God, I almost called you Daddy.
Yeah.
Shit, I was reading your name. Oh
Getting
no!
bricked
this
up
is
over there.
embarrassing.
Getting
Oh,
bricked
This is the best day
I
ever.
did it.
man.
I fell for the trap.
Man,
It's getting hot in here.
That was
Someone
total
turn the
Freudian
heat
slip.
down,
Did not
please.
mean to do
Get
that.
that
I don't
AC
even
going.
remember
All
what
right,
the topic was.
I'm not gonna make fun of you for it because you were backing me up. But like, yeah, I'm not like saying for like every game that's like a huge thing. I'm just saying it's one of the many factors.
Is that local music?
Anyways.
What the heck?
I actually had 2 buttons at once. Yeah, look, I think a lot of and I'm trying to actually look at this more as less like a content creator thing, because I can complain about how we don't have anything big to talk about, and that's fine. What I actually am looking at though is like a Switch owner. Like right now, I'm spending a hell of a lot more time playing games on other platforms, which is cool because I own other platforms and I can do that. So as a
And
gamer,
you still have my Xbox.
yeah, and I still have your Xbox.
I mean,
but
what am I going to
I'm
play?
I'm
Stellar Blade or
satis-
Princess Peach Showtime?
I'm satisfied. Like I'm satisfied as a gamer because I have other options to play things. But I kept thinking, like, if I only had a Switch, it was like my fiance, she doesn't play games on anything else in the house. She only plays Switch. Well, look, she has nothing right now coming out that even interests her to even touch right now. So she still just keeps playing Tears of the Kingdom because she's got nothing else to play. And she's even said, "Hey, when's the next Warriors game coming out?" I'm like, "There isn't one announced. Sorry." Okay, when's the next Fire Emblem coming out? Yeah.
Well, that
Engage
might-
was last year, and we might get something, but right now,
don't know.
There's
We don't know.
nothing.
We don't know.
And so she's like, you guys talk about Metroid Prime 4 on the podcast all the time. When's that coming? I'm like, Dad, that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
We don't know. I'm like, I don't have answers for you. This is like, and
Tell her
she's
play Thousand Year Door.
I'm gonna see if I can get her to try it, but I
Oh,
don't-
actually, maybe have her
It's
play
fun,
Origami King first.
yeah, maybe.
No, she'll never
Maybe.
play Paper Mario again.
I will say that one of the reasons I think that
That's she's not as harsh on games as we are, Jay.
Origami King
Dude,
is a
it's just
good
so
game, bro.
frustrating to have battles in an RPG game that do nothing, like in terms of like leveling up or your progression or anything. They're pointless.
Yeah, that's the only flaw I found about the game. But I actually like the game and
It's about casualness. It's a casual game.
Just you can have a casual RPG and still like have some aspects of the battles mean something.
Yeah, I know you play Pokemon, so I guess I get it.
Just lose all
By
motivation.
the way, I wasn't saying that as an insult. Like even Pokemon has like that basicness to it. So,
Yeah.
all right. So can I answer that second question? The question for the
yeah.
second half of the year.
Yeah.
All right. So I am on the side. Okay. So let's go ahead and say Nintendo Switch 2 first quarter of 2025. Okay. Let's say March of 2025. I still think Nintendo has a really good first thing. It still falls within this fiscal year.
yeah,
You can say, hey, Nintendo Switch 2 is still this fiscal year, right? In Nintendo's year, whatever. But I still think that the second half of the year is going to be better than the first half of the year. First, I think Metroid is coming out this year. Metroid Prime 4.
At this point, I needed to have.
I'm going to jump on it. I'll say Metroid Prime. coming out this year, whether it's going to be in this Nintendo Direct, because I have to believe that in the next couple of weeks there's the Nintendo Direct, or in its own Metroid Nintendo Direct. Okay, where we're gonna get Metroid 2 and 3 HD, and then they'll do like a little Treehouse Metroid and Metroid the entire year. That'll be the big game of the year, or that I would say that I've always commented in Prime 4, the Breath of the Wild of Wii U Switch. It could be a game that's kind of goes on both systems. When we see it on Switch 2, it's gonna be leaving crazier looking and nicely, better. But that happens. We might get other ports like Twilight Princess, Wind Waker. Not ruling that out. I'm not ruling anything out this year when it comes to video games, but I do think that the second half will be better than the first half. I do believe, and I'm saying this because if you go to my channel, go to the search, just type new Switch, just type that. You'll find videos in where I cover, hey, there's a brand new Switch patent. It's the same exact OLED patent that we have now, but guess what? There's a little pattern here. Every time Nintendo releases the actual patent for an OLED, is because an edition is coming out. And right before the edition, right before that OLED, that patent video releases, Nintendo about a month or 2 months later, they launched a new OLED edition. I think this year we're getting a brand new OLED edition for Metroid, because that's going to be that's going to be the OLED edition of the year. Nintendo almost every year has given us one OLED edition, like a branded edition. We had the Splatoon, we got the Pokemon edition, we have the Red Mario edition OLED, although we got it twice. We got it for the base model and for the OLED. Only the OLED one has the little coins in the back, and it has a little Mario silhouette. But then this year, I think that's where Nintendo's headed. I think it's a Metroid year. I think we'll get that Switch OLED Metroid edition. Hopefully 2 and 3, maybe Wind Waker. Not sure if it's Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Twilight Princess is it's the kind of game that you want to see on Switch 2, just because it's when it comes to the graphics, Nintendo can do more with that game, graphic wise, than they can do with Wind Waker, which is cartoonish, right? And I think it will be a more impressive game to kind of compare between the HD version and the 4K version of it for Switch 2. And so maybe Wind Waker, and then a couple other smaller games here and there. But yeah, that's what I think is happening for the second half of the year. And I think it's gonna be a good one. I think with Metroid Prime 4, I'll be fine. I'll be fine for the rest of the year. If the rumors are true, the quality of the game, how big it is now, multiplayer, all that stuff, all those rumors, if they're true, then I see a big year for Metroid this year. And I can go even as far as saying, I know it's a hot topic of hot topics. This could be the Breath of the Wild of Metroid, the game that literally makes Metroid, break that 3 million sales that they can't get out of, away from that, at least 5, 6, maybe 10. No, who knows?
50 million.
50 million, yeah, Metroid.
50 million.
Gotta do the pinky.
50.
Yeah, I somewhat agree with Mike. I do think that the second half of the year is going to have some nice little surprises. Obviously, I don't think we're going to get anything at the caliber of Tears of the Kingdom or Mario Wonder, at least as far as mainstream sales. I don't think there's going to be anything that big. I do think there's a possibility of Prime 4, and I think it would, as you said, like there's a chance they could do a Prime 4 OLED, which would be totally rad, metallic, orange, make it look pretty unique and cool. I think that would be really sick to see. But again, like this is something I've mentioned on my channel a lot over the last year, is that Nintendo's a different company now, and like I feel like a lot of people are looking at the transition to their next console the same way they looked at previous transitions. We've got new leadership now. This Iwata was kind of the vision behind Switch before. Unfortunately, he passed away. But we're going to be, our new president, Shintaro Furukawa, is going to be leading Nintendo into a new era with his vision. Yep. So I imagine the approach is not going to be the same as we've seen before. I think there's going to be unique
Yeah.
vision. I think that's going to play into this weird transition period that we're going into.
Yeah.
The times that we're expecting, oh, this is when they typically do this. This is when they have their directs and their mini directs and whatnot. I don't know. I just feel like people should expect the unexpected going forward.
I mean, something even as subtle as they changed the day that they released their games on. And I mean, things have shifted
Totally.
to Fridays now, or no,
Totally.
Thursdays. Wait, sorry, which one is it? I can't remember, but it's one of the two. It changed.
Thursdays. It
Yeah,
changed to
yeah.
Thursdays.
With that,
Yeah, but like I was just gonna say, and with regards to Switch 2, like a lot of the rumblings that have been coming out about people talking about what the console is, it's largely been iterative. It's the Switch again, but a better screen, a bigger screen, more powerful. It's got DLSS. It's got the 4K upscaling, ray tracing. That's been a consistent rumor that's been going around. And that is nothing like what we've seen from
Yeah.
the Wii era of, it's not Blue Ocean strategy, which Iwata pioneered. That's Red Ocean.
to add to that,
Hybrid handhelds are a dime a dozen now. There's rumors that Xbox might be jumping into it. So if Nintendo is indeed making an iterative version of the Switch, they're doing a Switch 2.
Mhm.
They need a damn good lineup to get people, because they got magic in a bottle. And Andres used that term in your video today. I checked it out, but magic in the bottle was the perfect term for Switch. They are not magic in a bottle. Sorry, lightning in a bottle.
I think I used lightning in a bottle for Wii.
yeah,
For Wii, sure,
Yeah.
but that's what it was for Switch as well. And in order to do that, I think they saw how impactful it was having Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey within the launch year of the Switch.
Yeah.
They know that their next console, whether it's
Splatoon and Mario Kart.
or whether it's a new idea, it's going to live or die from its lineup, and that first year is crucial. So if they're going through a long transition and we get a little bit weaker titles, I ultimately think it's so that Switch 2 has a better opportunity of success in its launch.
Yeah.
And it probably means those first 12 to 18 months of Switch 2 are going to be friggin' awesome, to be honest.
Yeah.
I agree.
My
with you.
problem.
I agree to a point with what you're saying, because I can say this now. If you didn't know, I think Nate and Andre know. I worked for Apple corporate for 10 years. I just stopped working for them recently. And so I know all the behind the scenes stuff and how it worked and why things how they are now. Apple's the first $1 trillion company in the world. This happened when Tim Cook came in, because he is a money guy. He's a finance guy. He doesn't take leaps like Steve Jobs used to do. He takes steps. He takes a phone, and you could tell that this iPhone looks like last year's, or there's something a little different. But guess what? This iPhone doesn't look like the same as 5 or 10 years ago, because that's when you see the difference. I think that Furukawa is that same exact type of CEO. He's looking at the numbers. He's looking at how he take Nintendo into that stratosphere, into that $1 trillion company that I'm pretty sure they're going to go.
Can you imagine?
They're going to get to
If they release a new Switch every year, that was just an incremental
Jesus Christ.
upgrade.
every 2 years. I see it happening, like every 2 years for a system. I can see that happening. It's very, very possible if they take that mentality of giving you gradual iterates. If they keep the Switch branding, that's a very big possibility that we just get the Switch 2, Switch 2.5, Switch 3, Switch, whatever, And then not only that, but he's looking outside of Nintendo. He's looking at theme parks. He's looking at movies, and so he's looking at how he can increase the revenue of the company to keep it alive, even during a bad system year. They can rely on the movies. They can rely on the theme parks. There's just so much going on. Nintendo as a whole, that that's where they're going. And if you look at Apple, is a perfect example of what people are like, oh, that's the same exact phone as last year, but still become the number one phone because people are familiar with it. They just better something that people wanted from the previous phone. And so exactly what you were saying, what they could do with the Nintendo Switch, and people want a better screen, people want a better battery life, people want higher resolutions. That's all they need to do. Lightning in the bottle, Nintendo Switch just perfected the form factor. They gave us the portable and they gave us the dock in one, and so the Switch is the first system in the entire history of Nintendo. Well, they can just focus on that one system and bring out more games back to back. That's why we've been eating well for the past 7 years for Nintendo Switch, is because they haven't been producing for a 3DS and a Wii U or a Nintendo 3D, and you know what I mean? Was one console, and all they have to do is just perfect it. You just continue to build upon it, and Switch 2, Switch 3, Switch 4, and just continue to build upon that. What they already know is successful, and I think the president of Nintendo now knows that he's not a risk taker. He wants to make sure Nintendo maintains that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you there. I don't know that, like, again, we're going into uncharted waters. The new leadership, new vision for the company. It's totally possible. It's called Switch 2. I have a hard time visualizing that as a lifelong Nintendo fan. They've always, I'm
not on that board though. I'm calling Switch 2 now. I don't want Switch 2. I don't want Switch 2 either. And I'm saying I don't think it would be that, but we don't know. It's a new vision for the company. But I agree with you. In my video, Nintendo's not the same company it used to be. I talk about the theme parks, the movies, the possible TV shows, all the things that kind of go against what Nintendo has been or stood for.
Yeah.
It's a lot of change, and most of it, in my opinion, for the better. I look at most of these changes as huge positives, but I do think if they do decide to just go iterative, I think the software and Nintendo, Switch, the software that's come to the Switch is unbelievable. It's become my favorite Nintendo console because the lineup is so massive and so high quality. But I think if it is iterative, now more than ever, software is going to be super important, especially those first 2 years for the console's success, because I feel like if they don't have within the first 18 months that killer app that whether it's Mario Kart 9 or 10 or Mario Kart X, whatever they call it, or it's the next big 3D Mario, whatever it is,
Mario Kart
that's gonna be like, I have to have Switch 2. I think it's gonna be tough if it's just iterative. Because Nintendo fans, like, as much as we love Nintendo consoles and we love power, there's a lot of kids playing who might not necessarily feel the need to upgrade. So
my daughters are super happy with the Switch Lights. They want nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Playing their cozy games, Animal Crossing. They still play Animal Crossing since it came out, and so yeah, I agree. But I do believe that Nintendo has actually perfected when you talk about software. They reached the point where Microsoft has been since the first Xbox, since they run Microsoft Windows on Xbox, and that's why they're being able to do backwards compatibility all the way back from the first console to now. Nintendo's actually, in the words of Miyamoto, they're out in a place where it's easier now to actually build everything they built forward is still compatible with what's behind it, and so in a way, we can now know that. Moving forward from the Switch and up, everything could be backwards compatible just because now they're building on the same exact software, just with incremental upgrades.
So I've had this theory, and I've had it since the Gamescom announcement. No matter what Nintendo does, I think the second half of this year is just going to be light. I don't think there's going to be a big, massive holiday game. Lots of ports and remasters. Maybe some other stuff in between, but
are you giving up Prime 4 this year? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I don't think Prime 4 is coming out this year.
So do you now think it's a launch window Switch 2 game?
I don't know. I do not know yet. I will let you know.
Not making the claim yet.
But let me get to what I'm thinking here. So look, I know that rumors are just rumors, right? And rumors are they're not facts. So you're supposed to be very skeptical. But there's something that happened that made me start to really rethink some stuff. And it was kind of related to the Gamescom announcement, also kind of related to this indie world. Because if you guys remember, there was that whole PH Brazil guy who said, hey, there's supposed to be an indie world before a direct and everything. And that sounds interesting. But what I actually am thinking, and this is just, I'm thinking this out loud. Say what you want about it.
It's a safe space here. No insult. No Hobbit jokes.
Is he said that, right? And there's the whole, we had this indie world, so now we're going to have a direct. And then, hey, he said, Switch should be revealed in June. Maybe it gets revealed in July. Nate the Hate came out and said something very fascinating about this indie world over on Family Boards. Because PH Brazil claimed that what he was told about the Indie World was supposed to happen before GDC. Nate the Hate literally just outright disagreed with him and just said he's wrong. And the Indie World was always planned for April. It wasn't moved. It wasn't pushed back. It literally was April this entire time. Now, if you want to go off Nate the Hate, he said that we were supposed to have the system revealed in March before it was delayed internally. Okay.
Yep.
So the plan, obviously, according to him, at least from what he's now laying out, is that it was supposed to be revealed in March, then an Indie World in April, then who knows what after, right? Because he's basically trying to calm people down who think because the Indie World happened, a direct is coming. He's saying that's not happening. And he's always been one of those people that has heard about directs before they happen. And he's basically saying, I haven't heard jack shit about a direct. He already actually said that on Twitter. So now that I combine that with this Gamescom news and the fact that, he was one of the big proponents of March. I honestly think there is, we'll have ports and remasters and whatever and some smaller games in the second half. I don't know that it's going to be better than the first half. It's just going to be dependent on what games you're into.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo is actually full steam ahead with, we're done with Switch.
Yeah.
And we're announcing
Move on
Switch 2
quickly.
this summer, and we're going to go full board advertising, marketing Switch 2 for 9 months heading into launch. And you'd be like, well, then why not be at Gamescom? Because Nintendo's going to do a few things. They're going to do a kind of decent announcement, a little bit bigger than they did for Switch. Not a full blowout, but a bit more than just a trailer. They'll feature select games a bit more. They'll drop a direct in September that will have some advertisements for some of the games coming out this year, but we'll also have Nintendo Switch Plus whatever this other system is in the title. And they will advertise games for that in that direct, at least one. They'll have at least one they'll advertise. Whether it's Metroid Prime 4, because it's a cross-gen title, that might be a perfect opportunity to start advertising that in September for coming out for Switch 2. But I think that they'll let us know that it's going to be coming out. They're going to give us a general March 2025 in the summer. And then as they market and push for Switch 2, and by the way, I think once the cat's out of the bag, third-party companies will just literally just start putting Switch 2 in their... So you're going to start seeing Switch 2 logos or whatever they call this thing in their trailers and everything. So we're going to have news about that. And then in January, we're going to get a big blowout event. I don't know if it's going to be in person, but some sort of blowout event marketing for March, just like they did for Switch, except they're also going to have a Nintendo Live in Seattle. And that's why they're skipping Gamescom, because they're going to have all the Switch 2 stuff after the holidays in January in Seattle. Fans can come in, have a good time. Maybe they follow it up with a Nintendo Live right away in February in Japan. Get people really hyped. And maybe they even go with the traveling Switch advertising bus, and they start having that go around as well around the country so people can try. Maybe they get kiosks out early at Best Buy and Target. I think Nintendo realized, even after they made this supposed internal delay, again, still rumor, but internal delay decision, I think that didn't change the fact that their plans are to do nothing but Switch 2 from the second half of this year onwards. They're just pushed back 3 months, but they're not going to push back the marketing that bad unless you're arguing that it was supposed to start marketing in March. So I think reveal in June or July. If they want to wait till after Luigi's Mansion comes out, fine, whatever. But I think June or July, they're revealing the system. And look, that's the exciting part, is as a gamer, look, it's going to kind of be a dry year if you're looking just forward to major Nintendo games. However, they're going to give us so much to talk about, so much to keep us entertained with. And the reason I say this is Nintendo has investors, right? They're a publicly traded company. And they're not going to be able to go into this financial meeting coming up on May 7th and give really bad news that Switch sales are only going to be 8 million this year. By the way, we have no new system coming, and we have no major games coming. We have no, we're just going to give up this fiscal year and not make money.
Well, Nate, actually, it kind of makes sense, because, I mean, we were talking earlier about how there's no game they could release this year that would get someone that hasn't bought a Switch to buy a Switch. Like they will sell Switches, but it's going to be for people with getting them for kids or whatever that are coming into the age of gaming, I think mostly, or people buying an extra system. So I think that it really makes sense for them, because those people buying a Switch for those reasons aren't going to care if a new one's coming out in a few months. It's not going to a kid, a 5-year-old kid isn't going to be no, I want to wait for the new, they don't care. You know what I mean? And the parents don't really know. like, or the parents might not care either, or just, you know, like my kids, you know, young. I don't want them to have like the new like super nice one. I just want them to have one with a ton of games. So I feel like,
dropped.
yeah, there maybe, but I just feel like that kind of does make sense, like what you're saying, like for them, and that gives them like a solid, you know, amount of time, like 6 months plus, to advertise and market. And so I don't know, I kind of like it.
Yeah,
and have a strong first year as far as like Nintendo games go.
I also think that one thing that we might be neglecting a little bit is the idea of wanting to create an appetite for new Nintendo stuff. I mean, I'd say the last 3 years have been basically back-to-back good releases, good cadence of information and new titles and ports and remakes and information about NSO. And I think that maybe something about getting a next system, which is more iterative than their previous consoles have been, of having this be a down year, so that way people are like, where's Nintendo? Well, I want Nintendo news. And once that big blowout happens, everyone is on the same page. It's like, oh, I can still, you know, get by with my Switch because there's still a lot of support. If they go quiet basically for an entire year, everyone's going to want the next Nintendo thing, even more so than if this had been a great final year for the Switch. If the Switch 2 is just amazing from the start and no one has played some big Nintendo games for 15 months at that point, then it's gonna be even bigger deal.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is just one of those things. It's a theory. Obviously, we have no idea, but it's kind of like, hey, if there's just no big thing going on, then maybe it's just because, like we talked about, I've seen this sentiment out there that Nintendo's dropping the ball with Switch 2 because, look, they're kind of letting Switch go the way the 3DS and Wii U did. You get your ports, your remasters, your smaller games. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. I also think, by the way, they're not going to punt on the holiday season. They might not have like a major game that's going to push Switch sales. Now, I think they're going to discount the Switch. They're going to do more bundles than we've ever seen. They might even have new special editions or whatever, something to move units this holiday. But I do think they are going to do something, and this will remind you of the Wii U era and the Switch era. They're going to drop the N64 Classic this holiday season. And that's how they're going to keep those boosted holiday sales, because that's exactly what they did in 2016 with the NES Classic. And then they did it again in 2017 with the SNES Classic. So now's the time to fill that small gap. While people are super hyped for Switch 2 and driving all of that, that's not going to stop people from getting nostalgic and buying an N64 Classic. Sure. That's not going to stop people from, hey, if I want a second or third Switch for a friend or whatever, and now you're discounting them super cheap and you're bundling a bunch of games in, now's the best time to bundle and enjoy this old library. I honestly think that there's a path here where Nintendo can kind of sort of punt the Switch, but in a more respectful way, while really pushing that next system and keep some holiday revenue coming in.
That's a good point. Yeah,
that's
maybe
a theory
Switch
that can't be proven, but it would kind of line up with like Nate the Hate saying that, hey, don't expect a direct anytime soon. Well, no, because the next next event they're having is a Switch 2 event, not a direct. And because again, there's nothing. They're not having a direct because they don't have anything to talk about until Switch 2 is announced. So I could even see a point where there isn't even a direct until September.
Holy shit!
I could see that too.
He said today that he doesn't think there's a direct.
Yeah.
What did he say that? I saw on Twitter he said he hadn't heard of anything.
Someone asked him if there's a direct right around the corner, and he said, "Not to my knowledge."
Right.
I would not be surprised if we didn't get a
Which
direct
means he doesn't think
a general direct till September.
And
Again,
Nate the Hate has always
transition
heard
year.
about directs. Every direct of the Switch era he's heard about ahead of time. So
Yeah.
and
I mean,
he's the one that's
that's
basically saying Brazil is wrong. They weren't going to have this. This Indie World was never planned for last month.
I will say that.
So
I will say that I was under the impression that something would happen this month.
yeah,
And it looks like that something was Indie World,
sure.
and that's it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a direct happening next week, guys. I don't even think we're getting one in May. They got 2 games coming out in May. They're just going to let those 2 games kind of be the thing.
Yeah.
June, I think,
I
is the
agree.
soonest, and I think they're going to avoid Summer Game Fest week if they do it in June.
You
But
said dude.
it could be July. Like they could just literally wait till Luigi Mansion's out and then hit us in July. So,
I really
I think
hope
July
that
the
there's something next
earliest,
week, though.
and then possibly September.
as a content creator, I would love for something next week. As a general Nintendo fan, I don't want them to punt on Switch this year and just do ports and remasters all year long. But I'm okay as a Nintendo fan if it's because they're going to be spending 9 months hyping up Switch 2. And I'm totally fine with that. So there's obviously some hopium in there as well that this is Nintendo's plan. But I also kind of think, like, how could Nintendo guarantee they don't lose momentum going to the next one? Well, you just announced the damn next one. Don't care if that hurts Switch sales right now because it probably won't hurt it too bad anyways. As Jake pointed out, it literally might not hurt sales that bad. So
yeah, I mean, I think you're at this point you're appealing to a market that wouldn't have bought Switch otherwise.
yeah,
You know,
and the
Yeah,
market
like-
you're appealing to with Switch 2 is the market that already owns Switches.
Right. So if you drop the price of the Switch, right? Let's say the normal Switch goes down like
Like
50,
$100. Yeah, like $100.
Right. Like at that point, you're reaching a market that's never going to buy Switch 2 until that comes down to $200 7 years
Yeah.
from now.
And it was the market they
Right.
tried to capture with 2DS and new 2DS.
Andres, do you think
Yeah.
they might not lower the price of the Switch till after the Switch 2 comes out?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it makes sense to drop the price of the Switch beforehand.
Yeah, I agree.
Because think of it like this: wouldn't it be weird to like be buying an OLED? You buy an OLED for $350, and then a month later, Switch 2 comes out and it's $400. Like
They should
it
do a
might make more
Switch-
sense to drop the price of the Switch a few months before it comes out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I still
I feel like they can sell them holidays for like any price needed.
listen.
Yeah,
I still think
I would like them to do a price drop and then do a bundle that's the original price with Prime 4.
Sure. It's not a bad
That's what I
idea.
would like.
I could see that, yeah, because they already do that for like Black Friday. They've already done that for Black Friday, like include a game for the regular price. I could start seeing them doing that with a bunch more games as their first.
I think Prime.
well,
4
they
would
already
be a
do that
great
with the
game
Switch
for
Lite
that.
now. It comes with Animal Crossing.
Sure, but Prime needs people. Like,
Yeah.
desperately.
Metroid needs people.
Breath of the Wild
true.
3. I would like to see Breath of the Wild 3 for this
Yeah,
Wild
very,
game.
very likely. Yeah.
it's-
Breath of the
it's
Child.
weird that like they bundle the games that they have no problem selling, like Mario Kart and Animal Crossing, and not games like to get people more interested. Like, at least like if you want to throw Mario Kart in there, sure, but maybe throw like a Metroid game also, and that would get a lot.
Are you saying
more
because people are just going to buy Mario Kart anyways? Is
Yeah.
that what you're saying? Like everyone's
yeah,
going to buy
like, why
Mario
not
Kart,
use it
Mario
to get
Kart.
eyes on games?
I
that
I
don't
think this
sell?
holiday, what we'll see is they'll drop the price point of every single Switch by $100, but you will still see some at $350, $300, and $200 for the Lite. But Nintendo's going to bundle 2 to 3 games in with it. They're going to go heavy on bundles, bundle, make it just like feel like a
I
really
miss
good
those
deal.
days.
And
Remember,
I-
you
and-
could buy a console and get like 2 or 3 games at once.
The golden years? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I remember when I got my GameCube, there was like a deal going on for PS2. Like you get a PS2 and 4 games. I was like, nah, I'm gonna get a GameCube and 2 games, but those 2 games are GOATs in Mario Sunshine and Metroid Prime.
I mean, they were
Yeah.
even actually doing that with Wii U when you could get a Wii U bundle with
Yeah.
Wind
3D
Waker.
World and Nintendo Land baked in. I mean, that's the Wii U that I had.
Yeah, I think there's a few bundles like that, but that was more like a hey, we're screwed.
Yeah, of course.
Please buy this.
It was a
system.
Hail Mary.
Help.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the Wii with Wii Sports was like one of the best packing games of all time.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah, for sure.
totally.
Yeah, it was so good.
Nintendo
But I don't
Land
think
should have been
Nintendo
packed
Land.
in. Damn it. Should have been.
I don't think Nintendo Land gets enough credit. That
Nintendo Land
game's
was great.
freaking
Should have been packed in.
Yeah.
rad.
1-2 Switch.
Well, it
by the
was
way,
packed
should
in
have been packed in.
with the deluxe version of Wii U. Nintendo
Yeah, with
Land,
the
I
deluxe
believe.
one.
People
Yeah.
would like 1-2 Switch if it was a pack-in game. This is my. I will die
Yeah.
on this hill.
I
enjoy 1-2 Switch.
you know what? I disagree. I am glad 1-2 Switch was not packed in with Switch. Want to know why? Because that game sucks and it would tarnish the good name of Nintendo Switch.
I
Bad
kind of
brand.
feel like Andres is
I
right.
don't
I
think
think
this-
I think it might have been intended to be a packing game, but
But it
like
was
they were
too
like, we
good.
don't want this to be the first taste for people.
Exactly.
you could be
'cause
right.
It sucks.
And-
We'll
but-
let like the people that are crazy enough to pay money for this out of desperation for something to play at launch do it, but we're not packing it in. F that.
Well, not
Yeah.
only
And
that,
they gave us
that
the
game.
Force, baby.
That game was basically a way of saying like, hey, check out this new feature in our this cool new feature in our controllers that we're never going to use in any other game.
So am I the
HD
only
Rumble.
person
Yeah.
that recently saw at Walmart that everybody's 1-2 Switch was being sold at my local Walmart for 5 cents? And I kept
Stop
thinking,
it.
I kept thinking for a second because that's how much that game is tanked. Nobody retailers.
Well,
don't even
so
want it.
To be
bad.
fair, like pretty much every game right now is like $5 or less at Walmart.
Yeah. Walmart's just clear. Yeah, they're clearing out. I
They're
don't
clearing
know.
out everything. They do this all the time.
No, Jake.
Buy one even if it's
Yeah,
a
cut off
legal
that
thing where they make them 5. It's a legal thing where they make them 5 cents and then they send them back to like a warehouse or whatever to be redistributed. It's a weird thing.
But what I was about to say is they went heavy with the horse, and the only thing I know is 5 cents is worth seeing if the horse is bricked up.
Heavy on the horse is a great phrase.
I remember one time, maybe I was an ungrateful little shit back then, but I was given Wii Music, and
Oh
I already
God.
knew that game was terrible. When
That's
I saw it,
Andres, that's domestic violence.
Yeah, you need to
Just saying.
report whoever gave you that.
well, I never took it out of its wrapping.
I played
Just
Wii
yell
Music last
surprise
year.
first, Andres. If you do what
What'd
we
you say,
talked
Jake?
about.
What'd you say, Jake?
Just yell surprise if you do what we talked about.
Oh,
He
God.
wasn't there for that. He did. We're not doing that on
Well,
it.
if something weird happens, I'll yell surprise.
Yes, you will.
So Eric,
Surprise!
Eric's more of a general consumer over there. How are you feeling about Switch right now in 2024? Like, is there even anything that excites you at all? Or are you just like, it's time?
I need a new Switch. I'm still running the original. And
Why
Switch
has
has
a hole in
yeah,
it?
it's just
Duct tape Switch, baby.
I need a new Switch. I don't really want to buy one right now because I just have
You
that feeling that
guys-
eventually it's going to be coming out here in the relatively near future.
Yeah, or if you're like just
You guys see the
jonesing for
crack
it and
there?
it
I
does
have
get
like
a price
thing
drop.
covering it.
Yeah.
You probably can't tell
Yeah.
from here, can you?
No, not
No,
really.
not really.
Not really. No.
No. Well, there's a crack. Well, wait, hold on. It's kind of hard to see.
Hey, stop showing your crack on screen for free. Andres.
Yeah, well, it's
There are
close.
children
Hey,
here.
It's
Hey, that
close.
gives me an idea.
And I don't want to take that off to show you. I mean, could I take it off?
But to,
Will it go
Oh,
back
yeah,
on?
I-
Just take it off and
talking
show-
about cracks and taking things off now.
Dude,
Jesus.
I
Take
can
it off
do-
and show us your crack.
I
Welcome
can
to
do
the
something to
show,
help
Eric.
you out here. Do something to help you out. Yeah. Well, I can't.
Oh,
you don't
can't
even
see him.
appear. You don't even appear.
Oh, no, now it's just me.
Whoa.
Here we go. Here we go.
What
Now
the
you're on the big
hell?
screen there. What do
Alright.
we got?
I have taken off the wrapping somewhat. That's pretty clear now.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
bad. Whoa, what happened there?
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Honestly, I think my dog ate it.
Your dog ate your Switch.
That's a new one. My dog ate my Switch.
Well, I don't know how else that hole got there. So
Then again,
so this wrapping's done a great job of preserving my Switch.
and or just making it look like nothing's wrong.
Yeah. You can in person you can see a crease, but it's not as
Well, I'm
obvious.
sure in person, yeah.
Hey, Tears of the Kingdom is a game that features a lot of damaged things. The Master Sword is damaged. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just a vibe. It's a Tears of the Kingdom vibe.
It's just
Yeah.
a vibe. Just a vibe, everyone. So what I wanted to get into a little bit then, because we're talking about 2024. What do we actually think Nintendo's going to bring in this second half? Just like port, remaster, whatever wise. Like,
Hey,
what do we think is gonna
before
happen?
you guys get started, I'm just gonna bow out real quick. I had to head
Later,
out.
Daddy J.
I was
Daddy.
having fun, so I stayed a little later, but
Yeah.
I don't know who let me.
Yeah, he
have
was getting
fun.
extra bricked up over there. He added a little extra 10
Surprise!
Now,
He had an extra 2 inches on that one.
now I gotta go put it to good use.
Have a good night,
All
man.
right. Have a good night,
Take it easy,
everybody.
bud. Night.
So, I guess
All right.
Surprise!
The better away, the boys can play.
So what do we actually think Nintendo's going to do in the second half? Like, how are they feeling this slate? What are we getting? Let's start with remasters or remakes. What do we think's coming?
Games.
Games.
Just games.
Damn it, Eric!
Don't know what it is, but games.
I'll maybe reach across and slap you. I literally can.
Reach through Mike.
Look at that. My arm extends all the way around and comes up.
Oh.
Oh, whoa. What was that tongue action?
So I guess
We need a divider between us.
Something that kind of concerns me, right, is that if we're not getting a direct until June, we're running into this strange situation where there's not a July game, and there's always been Nintendo published title or titles in July every year of Switch. And typically that game at the latest it's ever been announced is May, and that was the pandemic year where they announced Origami King. Otherwise, we would have known about it already, and yet we don't.
Yeah,
You
or
know,
Twitter drop even like
Shadow
how
Drop
they've
being
done
in
that for
July.
gaming games.
Shadow Drop would mean that there would be a presentation in July.
Then there might be a presentation in July.
Or
I was just talking about how we got a Switch 2
drop.
presentation. That
Yeah,
could go-
Twitter drop.
they could literally in the Switch
I
2
think.
presentation, just be like, oh, by the way, we don't want to forget you guys. Hey, you saw that Metroid Prime 4 tease. Boom, Shadow Drop 2-3. Done. July. I
So
don't
now
know.
you're saying
That's a little
so now
hokey.
you're moving
Little
you're moving back the Switch 2 reveal to July.
Yes, that's actually when I think they might do it.
I
I think they'll wait
read-
till after the Luigi's Mansion.
What's
Honestly,
your prediction, Andres?
I don't have a prediction anymore.
Okay, all right, fair
Yeah.
enough.
He's given up.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
done. I'm just
so-
going to see what Nintendo
I just-
does.
Yeah, the problem is that I'm under the impression that there have been several internal delays, or it's all bullshit. One or the other.
I think
so
there's been internal delays. We saw that
I-
with Switch.
yeah. But I guess my point is, like, I'm not even sure we're gonna see the Switch 2 this summer, because the idea was that there was gonna be like a direct before that, and we're not sure on that. Well, I mean, we'll see how April pans out, right? 'Cause
Unless Brazil was just full of shit.
there's a solid chance. When you brought up
Like-
regarding the whole indie world thing,
Like the fact that Nate the Hate is literally being like, guys, there was never going to be an Indie World last month, so I don't.
would
know
have been
what-
nice if he would have said that sooner, though. Instead of waiting.
Well, okay, to be fair, he doesn't really tease Indie World like hardly ever. So
Right, but everyone knew about that rumor. He didn't say squat until it, now.
well, I think what he was going on was that Brazil, he felt was at first given an opinion that it was going to be in March because I'll remember if you remember Brazil's original thing, it was that an Indie World would happen before a direct that is happening in April, and he thought it would be March. That's the way he phrased the original rumor.
Sure, yeah, it wasn't saying
left
March
that
for sure.
alone. Because Nate's like, well, I don't know about a direct yet, but that's pretty far out. Maybe I'll hear about one by then. I'm not going to contradict anything. And then when he came out and said, well, actually, I don't think there's going to be a direct anymore. My source is now saying June, maybe May, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't really even talk
Very
about
shaky.
and he didn't really talk about the Indie World at all when he was retracting that. And then the Indie World was announced, and then Brazil was like, oh, yeah, this is weird. I thought this was originally supposed to happen before GDC. I guess it got pushed. And then Nate the Hate comes in and be like, no, it was always in April.
So the other thing is that Necro Felipe, the Universal Nintendo owner, also said there was going to be a general in April and has just disappeared.
Yeah, he's still around. He's
He's
not talking about it. He's like pretending he never said anything.
Right.
I mean, it's dangerous
yeah.
at this point.
Which, by the way, he
Yeah.
was also the big proponent that said the exact day that Partner Showcase Direct was going to be, and then was wrong, and it was the next week.
Oh yeah.
And then insiders tried to defend him, and yet he's the only one that said it was happening for sure that week. He was the only one.
This has been a really
So that could be
weird
like
year
twice in a
for
row
this.
he's been wrong, and maybe
Yeah.
he just has bad
The
sources.
Nintendo Ninja's got a
And
source.
remember, one thing we have to remember about this situation is he's also located in Brazil, and it's possible they're all getting because this
being
Pedro they're being
Yeah.
fed bad information
Yeah,
by
that's what
Nintendo
I said,
Brazil, or whatever their contact is. I'm assuming they
They're-
have one at Nintendo.
They're
Brazil.
fishing for
Maybe.
they're fishing for the leak, and they gave out bad information. And
and
they
because
may
those
have
are
found
the
the
only
leak.
two that were corroborating on this direct thing. And Brazil
Yeah.
was like trying to defend him, saying that, oh, there was going to be this week, but now it's the other week. And he was the only one saying that week for the Partner Showcase. So it's kind of one of those. I don't really think that Necro Felipe, and I've already seen a lot of other stuff that I guess has been deleted in the past. A lot of times he's been wrong. I think his information isn't that rock solid. And Brazil has actually been, he's known, this Pedro Henrique Brazil person, he's actually been known in the past to be very reliable, but this was like 5 years ago, and then he stopped. And the reason that he got his credit now is not just from the past, but because he has so much corroboration on
On the
the
Switch 2
delay.
report.
Yeah, and even Nate the Hate backed that up, said, "Oh yeah, I'm hearing about that too." So with all of that said, I think it's possible that he was right about the Switch 2 delay because he had 5 different sources, he said, in 3 different countries. So he wasn't just local. So he actually had legit information there. But all of this stuff about the Direct and the Switch 2 reveal was all from, it sounds like, just 2 sources. And those could have just been local Brazil sources that are just wrong.
Yeah.
I got a question
There's some
for
weird
the
things going on there.
The fact that none of the other insiders ever corroborated things when he said, besides Necrofelipe, who happens to also be in his same country, anything about the Indie World Direct Switch 2 thing, no one else corroborated that. It was kind of like, I thought that was interesting. And then he canceled it before there was even a chance for the stuff to come true before the end of the month. It's like, I think that he has become aware. And I think he's acutely aware that his information was wrong. And he's trying to pass it off as this was old information, even though he got the information at the time he got the Switch 2 delay information, he claims. So, by the way, this isn't me putting any shade on Brazil or Necrofelipe. I think they probably have sources. I just think their sources are now being fed misinformation on purpose by Nintendo because.
And that's the thing. Leak bait exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of many reasons why one should take rumors with a grain of salt.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I said, even when like he's saying this, okay, cool. And by the way, Nate's got a very public reputation and he's been wrong about things. I mean, again, he was the big proponent of one of the March. Now, there was other insiders backing the whole March reveal thing, but and there was plenty of reports like Video Game Chronicle, IGN, Bloomberg, etc., saying that, hey, at Gamescom last year, everyone was talking about March. So very, very clear. It felt like there was obviously a roadmap to March that, and things just changed. Nintendo made a decision. Hey, we're going to pull the plug on that and push it, which is fine. And we know this happens. For anyone who tells me this doesn't happen, we now know it's a fact and it's not just a rumor. The Switch was delayed. The Giga leak, which was a real leak, Nintendo literally sued people over it. It is a real, they sent people to jail over this leak and their servers got hacked. All this stuff. What happened is in that Giga leak, we got files that showed Switch was supposed to be holiday 2016. That was the roadmap. It was supposed to be holiday 2016. Did it come out holiday 2016? No. Did we ever hear that it was delayed? No. Why? Because it was an internal delay to March of 2017. So we know that the internal delays are a fact-based thing. Ergo, I can believe that the plan was this holiday, and it's been this holiday since last year, but they decided for whatever reason is, maybe it's just game lineup wise, maybe it's manufacturing wise, it's just a better, people talk, shout out, by the way, to that Nintendo, is it Focus channel or Nintendo, that channel that did, gosh, I'm really mad now. I don't remember. He put out a video today too. He did something. He did a bunch of research into it. In a big video he did where he was showing
the yen.
The yen thing. Yeah, Nintendo Forecast. Nintendo Forecast.
Chat.
He did a really big
Nintendo
Nintendo Forecast. Yeah, he did a very it actually went viral because he pointed out a lot of information why Nintendo may want to delay this, and it has to do with the yen and how the yen's actually predicted to bounce back at the end of this year. Because one thing about the yen, it's helping increase their out-of-market profits. But when they have to spend money out of Japan into those markets like China to get things made, things are actually really expensive for them right now. So it actually would make sense to delay just from financial reasons, a 3-month delay, hope the yen bounces back. Then you fork over the money. You end up making, spending less money to get things made. And the profits end up being really good on Switch 2. It was actually really well researched, and he showed a whole bunch of documentation and evidence behind all of this and how, this is a real thing. Like, the yen is actually, it's not low because the economy is bad. It's not like one of those kind of things. It was something that, I can't remember the specific, there was something that was reported that from Japan, these are all from Japan reports about why the yen was low. And it was trying to prevent something that they were predicting was going to happen. That things now passed, and now the yen's actually, slowly as we're getting the summer, starting to get a bit more valuable. So my point is, everything kind of lines up where there probably was an internal delay, whatever the reason is, even if it wasn't a financial reason. And 3 months isn't going to make or break. They proved with Switch they don't need holiday to launch a system.
All right, I'm gonna tell you what I think.
All right, that's it though.
There it goes.
I've part of what I think is colored by some things I've heard, but I haven't wanted to like fully believe it because you know how it is. You hear something, you're not sure you should trust it.
Are these random emails?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I usually delete that shit. So
All right, so he's got it on some form of kind of maybe something real. Maybe.
basically, I mean, put it this way: when there's a direct, I know when the direct's gonna happen, right? But only like shortly beforehand, right?
Oh,
And,
I thought
like-
you were about to tell me when the next direct's gonna happen. I was about to go nuts.
No,
No,
that's the
live link
problem.
on the Nintendo Prime podcast. From
Well, that's
No,
the
no,
problem. That's the problem. There's nothing.
He's not. He has. Yeah.
He
What I'm
rips-
just telling
he
you is
rips
that he
up the
always
face mask and
he always hears shortly
Ethan
before
Hunt.
direct is announced when it's
Right.
gonna happen, and
I
he
mean,
hasn't heard.
I think I was the first YouTuber to say that we're probably going to partner showcase in February, right? And
yeah, probably. Yeah.
right. So I
And then all the
read between,
reports and rumors.
read
can
between the
report.
lines here,
Yeah.
right? So
Okay.
I'm
So-
not
so
saying
he's got a
Read between
source
the
that
lines,
just
baby.
keeps him like very close to when directs are gonna happen. There you
Yeah, I mean, a couple people sometimes send me messages, and if there's like a track history of getting it right, I start to pay a little bit more attention to it. And basically, what I'm saying is,
There's no
Maybe
direct
we
next week.
I hope that's not. I hope there is, but I don't.
But
have
yeah,
one.
you've heard nothing. So you're
yeah.
based on the track history, you're like, yeah, there's no direct next week. So okay.
Actually, I want to make a prediction for
But
this
that's not
year
what I wanted
because-
to get at.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
That's not what I'm getting.
Oh, sorry.
yeah, let's get
Sorry,
to
finish
where
your
you were
thought.
going with
Finish
it.
your thought.
Um,
Sorry.
So, I just am. You know how the Nikkei report said Switch 2 at earliest
Yeah.
March 2025?
Yep.
I think we should hone in on the earliest part. So, I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I'm simply stating that I think we should be cognizant of the very real possibility that when they say Switch 2 at March 2025 at the earliest, that is not just there for fluff. The at the earliest might be the optimistic thing. So,
That makes sense. I
Yeah.
think that makes sense.
I want a direct next week. I want Brazil to be right. I want Necro Felipe to be right. So
I wanna make
Yeah, I
I
never
wanna make a
believe they said it
prediction.
would be a general direct. So
yeah.
I want to
he's
make a
the only one
prediction
who said that.
for Nintendo this year because we've been talking a lot about like timing and directs and is there going to be one? When's it going to be? Nate, when you were talking about how you feel July, September makes sense, I'm kind of in that space where I think we'll actually probably see the next mainline direct in July with like the first sort of reveal for Switch 2 in September, tease blowout happening earlier in the new year for Switch 2 where they show off all the big games.
Sure.
But I think we will get a direct prior to July, but I think it's going to be a direct mini, not a mini show
Yeah.
partner showcase, a direct mini.
Try not to get
kind of
people's hopes up.
That's going to give us our July, August, September.
2020 all over again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think,
no,
I think
I
that's
Nobody's
pretty
making
likely.
a banger in September though. I like their.
Oh yeah, no, I think September is going to be the month of hype. This is when it's like, oh shit,
Dude, I
it's-
can do
it's
that.
real.
Hey, if it happens in
Nintendo's
the
about
first
to
3 weeks, it's
unleash.
still summer, so I'm good.
Yeah, but I think I'd actually expect. Listen, we've had the mini partner showcase, we've had the indie world. Now it's time for a mini. We're gonna go through
Yeah.
all the beats before we finally land. People are gonna be losing hope. People are gonna be, giving up on their dreams, and that's when Nintendo is gonna hit us with the mainline direct in the summertime.
I think that makes sense.
And I think the mini's it's gonna be like 4 games, maybe we get like Xenoblade Chronicle X. Maybe they're continuing with this port theme. Xenoblade Chronicles X for Switch, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess HD, and then maybe some maybe a new Kirby. We always get Kirby's at the end of a Nintendo life cycle.
Kirby,
so
you're
maybe a
right.
new Kirby.
I want old Kirby.
There we go. And
my
maybe
thought
we
is
get-
is Robobot remake. That's my thought process on that one.
Okay.
And maybe
Alright.
some new
Alright.
the Switch Online announcements, like
Cubivore.
some new 64 stuff
Cubivore
coming.
3.
The Banjo Tooie, Diddy Kong Racing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Possible.
That's
yeah.
what I could see happening.
So I think second half of this year, I think Metroid Prime 2 and 3 are coming second half of this year. I think it's just happening. I think it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, for my agenda of Metroid Prime 4, I like that.
Being a
But-
launch window.
Yeah, but also I don't want this year to suck. Like
Yeah.
I think like when
Coming into
Tucker,
this year, this
when
is
Tucker
not what
asked
we
me
expected.
what's my prediction, I don't have one right now because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like I don't even know what to believe right now.
Well, I think the honest truth is we've all been burned this year. I mean, the first part of the year, as we were saying earlier, has just been so strange, especially for leaks. I mean, we've had contradicting things and then predictions come true and then untrue within 24 hours. And I mean,
Shit's wild.
it's been an interesting time to get to know you guys and talk about this stuff, because if you look backwards, I mean, leaks were pretty stable comparatively before the beginning of this year, where things started to contradict seemingly a lot more often. And then the fact that we're getting indie worlds and partner showcases and then who the hell knows what. I think it's been a very fascinating time, but I think that the lucky part, and I think that this is something that Nate was saying earlier about just things stabilizing when Switch 2 happens, is this is a passing storm. I don't expect that this is going to be this way for even the entire year. I think that things in Nintendo just seem like they're a little bit unstabilized. They're trying to find their way in the next generation.
Yeah. Speaking of that, there's something that we need to seriously consider. And I don't think it's getting whispered about right now about Nintendo like dropping the ball and failing with the transition, like maybe about to fall off a cliff by the end of this year, especially if nothing's announced and it's kind of just not a year with less releases, but without important games. I think that one thing that isn't getting talked about is that Furukawa has never launched a new platform. And it's entirely possible that all of this strangeness is because he kind of doesn't know what he's doing right now.
Yeah, sure.
And he keeps changing his mind and making like last minute decision changes because he's not confident in some things, or he's really nervous because, again, he talked all generation about not falling off a cliff. He said that at like 7 different financial briefings, that that's his focus is when we go to the next system to not fall off a cliff. And I think he is deathly afraid of what happens when Nintendo moves on from this generation, and he knows it's on him, and he's trying not to mess it up.
Yeah.
And in trying not to mess it up, it's creating a lot of confusion for all of their partners, which is where most of this information is coming from, is their partners that are making games for the system with dev kits. So I think it's just a very confusing time, even for their partners, because Furukawa, I think, knows that this makes or breaks his career and maybe even future as president of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Theory.
Oh, go ahead, Andres.
Here's the theory. All right, you guys ready? Furukawa can't fail with this if they never move on.
Well, that would be a big failure, though. They'd start losing lots of revenue.
No. So all you got to do is to continue to release games for Switch and just never acknowledge Switch 2, and eventually people will just give up, and we'll just accept the fact that Switch is all we have, and we'll continue to play games
for the next decade. It'll be the best-selling system of all time, simply because they're never going to stop making Switches.
Nintendo next console, that's not going to happen until the collapse of society.
There it is.
Yeah.
See, I want to give Furukawa a little bit more credit. I think he's a savvy dude. I think
he's a savvy dude too, but I also just think that we didn't feel this strangeness with prior console launches. All of those were managed by Satoru Iwata, and then obviously the Yamauchi family before him, and they obviously were very consistent with how they handled things. Now we have a new president who's never launched something, who keeps talking about how he was nervous and afraid of, and trying to like make sure that they don't fall off a cliff. And now we have this confusing launch thing going on. Hey, it's at Gamescom, but then, oh, by the way, this thing's not coming out for like a year and a half. Right. And like, there's just a lot of, I think he's a little nervous. and he's making
and
a few nervous choices. Now, the choices might be well informed, of course, because he knows everything behind the scenes. So,
Right.
like, maybe he was really confident, and like this internal delay could have literally just been Miyamoto, Aonuma, other devs came up to him and said, "Hey, we need a bit more time on our games." And Nintendo has always been willing to delay things for their own games. And that could literally be all this is. And it feels tepid because Nintendo told their partners when to expect things coming out this holiday. Everyone was confident. All the analysts were confident coming into this year. It's going to be this holiday. And then Nintendo pulls the rug out. And it could literally just be, hey, Furukawa was full steam ahead. And then they might even had a presentation ready to go for March.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, like maybe it's the Mario team. Maybe Tezuka went straight to Furukawa in a meeting and said, "Hey man, this shit ain't ready for this holiday. We can't fumble with this game. We need this year to polish. We have to like."
But that's
You saw Tears of the Kingdom. You saw Mario Wonder. Fans have expectations. There's a problem. We need to fix it.
I've got an interesting thought about the combination of the delay and then also what you're talking about in terms of communication with partners. Of course, there seems to be a little bit of confusion, but I would say that there's a pretty high likelihood that there's pressure from the bigger third party teams.
Third parties for sure. That Call of Duty contract.
Yes, but here's the thing: is I think that there's pressure from them from working on these big games that have only started to barely get home on Nintendo's hardware, to give them a little more time before the launch of the system to make sure that those games are fully ready for full support on Nintendo's side for when that system actually launches. And so you can imagine that Ubisoft and Blizzard and all these big teams want to make sure that their games are as good as they can be for that first year of that system. And then who the hell knows? I mean, you want to have good third-party support?
All the leakers are wrong, and Switch 2 is 2024
right.
Hey, Hopium
Maximum.
My God,
Hopium Maximum. That's Hopium Maximum. Technically, things are still set up beautifully for it to happen. Nothing's really changed in that respect. It would explain why there's no directs because, hey, it's full on. This holiday is all Switch 2. And the partners got that letter because Nintendo just doesn't want their games to come at launch because they know they'll be overshadowed by what Nintendo's launching with. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, Pedro Henrique, it looks like he's being contradicted by people. So maybe he was just wrong. Oh, and hey, by the way, the primary outlets backing him up in Nikkei, VGC, and Eurogamer were also all the same people backing up the Switch Pro stuff that ended up never coming out. So maybe their sources are all very similar, all very unreliable at this point. And
I want to speak on that.
Nintendo's really pulling the rug on everyone.
I want to speak on that a little bit more, right? Because I think it's a valid point to bring up, right? Because the originating source of this entire widespread Switch 2 delay report is from Brazil.
Yeah.
And so now we're seeing things that suggest that maybe what he was saying was shaky, right? And so does it truly call into question everything else? Well, if we are to take these reports seriously, as credible, reputable sites, they wouldn't just be regurgitating what this person's saying.
They have their own sources. Yeah.
Right. They have their own sources, right? And then this person's story was just a launching off point, right?
And I do think it's possible Eurogamer and VGC have the same sources. They're both located in the UK. The writers that reported it.
And that's an interesting thing when it comes to corroboration. You can see a separate site or a journalist say, "Hey, I heard the same thing," but that doesn't mean they heard it from a different person or a different source.
Of course, absolutely.
So then the corroboration isn't necessarily true corroboration.
Yeah, it's that Nick K report that kind of adds a little weight, but most of Nick K's reports come from manufacturing. I've noticed a lot of the reports are based on because they have contacts in
Bloomberg as well, though, right?
Bloomberg too, yeah. They get a lot of their sources from manufacturing.
Yeah, but they're different parts of the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the guy who does it, what's his name, Takahashi. He actually lives in Japan. So
okay,
so
so it's the point I wanted to speak to is, and I'm not trying to necessarily throw shade at anyone. Right. I'm simply, we're discussing possibilities here, right? Especially when there's been things that have been wrong, right? So, it is what it is. But I wonder, right, if maybe, sometimes these reports come out because they don't want to take the fall for being wrong about their initial report. If that makes any sense, right? So, like, just to for example, right? Let's say VGC sees this post from Brazil. They put out the report. Then Eurogamer's like, oh, they're saying this? Ooh, well, then maybe we should also say this too. I'm not saying that that's why, I'm just stating that I
It's
feel
also
like there's
possible that one of the sources that Brazil had, because he said 5 sources, 3 different countries. One of those countries could have been the UK, which could have
Yeah.
been the exact same source the other people heard from, and it could have all been misinformation.
right. So I just kind of wonder, like you look at like with Brazil, right, and how he said multiple things over the last couple months. Some of it to me kind of felt like, hey, people are gonna get mad at me if this doesn't come true.
Hmm.
So let me kind of like update, try and like
Yeah.
before
And
the truth
and,
comes
and in
out.
that one post he made, he put an edit in there where he felt like a little guilty that maybe he got people really excited for something that he doesn't think's happening anymore.
Yeah. And the thing is, the tricky part is that like that's why you have to take these things with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
We don't know. Even like, I mean, I guess the question is, should we have never even covered Brazil?
I think you can't ignore the initial report when it was being corroborated. I think at that point you have to talk. You can't just ignore it. Like we just blissfully ignored it at the time. I think as content creators, IGN's running the story. Everyone, CNN was running the story. Everyone's running the story. You can't just sit there and be like, "Well, this didn't happen," and ignore that.
Yeah.
Ignore that. And even Nate the Hate, who he was one of the last people to come in and say that he heard about it after the reports came out. He didn't hear about it before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those that you wonder. One, there's something I've always wondered about insiders who seem to always have like the same information and corroborate each other. If it's like they all have similar sources that are all just whatever, and Nintendo maybe figured out who those leaks are, and that's where they're feeding some of the false information, if that's what they're doing. Or if it's one of those, I don't think covering that initial thing was wrong. And again, I don't question Brazil's overall reputation, guys. I feel like he has proven himself enough in the past. I do think, though, with this happening and Nate the Hate not agreeing with him, which is the first time that's happened, like ever, he's never disagreed with Brazil in the past. So with that happening, it's one of those things where, well, Nate the Hate clearly has different sources at some point. It's one of his sources, at least, is different than what Brazil has. And Brazil walking everything back before he even had to. He didn't have to walk anything back. What he did, claiming one of his sources that was saying April is now saying June. I think that we're at a point where Brazil, there's a reason that he stopped talking about this stuff. And he said it himself because this happens all the time with his sources, which means that his sources may not be as reliable as other people's sources. Pioro, by the way, has also responded to people saying he hasn't heard about a direct coming, and we know how legit Pioro has been and how much he knows when a direct's hitting.
Yeah.
So
I was actually going to ask something real quick about Pioro, just because we have a bunch of people who know their shit here. Did Pioro ever leak or give information on indie worlds before they were happening? Obviously,
No.
not this one. Okay,
He
so
actually
that never
recently
happened.
said he doesn't get much info
no,
on Indie.
he even said that
Gotcha.
today. Like
Okay,
he doesn't.
all right.
He
I was just checking because we heard nothing. Of
Yeah,
this
it
past
sounds
week. I'm
like he
hmm.
might become aware of them, but he doesn't
Sure.
know what's in them. So
Yeah,
it's
okay.
like not his contact or not his department or whatever. However he gets his information, it's not. Yeah. He doesn't know.
Something with Pioro though, right? Is that yes, Pioro is yes the most reliable leaker, but Pioro only talks about things right before they're going to happen.
like a few days at most.
And so it's kind of one of those things where like because of that, it's probably why he doesn't get things wrong because he talks about them.
He
once
waits
we're past,
when he's positive.
Yeah.
right. Like once we're past the point of a potential delay.
Like there's a point of no return where it's happening.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah.
When you're talking
Yeah.
about things ahead of time, it's more subject to changes.
Yep.
Yeah, and Pioro
And I
said
think-
anything
yeah, I
about
think-
Switch too, obviously.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is slowly happening. I've been noticing watching Nate the Hate over the last year is he's starting to not say things until much closer to it happening.
Yeah, right. Like the Switch Pro
Outside of like
might not have
general
happened.
rumors, like Switch 2 will have DLSS. Yeah, but that's not telling you when the system's coming.
Yeah.
But he's like being very careful with directs. He
Well-
he used to tell us about directs. Oh, direct's going to be next month. Now he only tells us like the Friday before, when it's very hard for it to move at that point,
was
when it's
gonna
going to be
say,
the
yeah,
next
it's-
week. Like if you think about it, all you have to do is go back to June 2022 when all these insiders were talking about, oh, we're going to get a direct. We're going to get a direct. And he stayed silent all month. The Friday before the week of the direct, he came out and said, the direct's next week and it's a partner direct. And everyone's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Next week comes, sure as shit, direct on Wednesday, partner direct. Like he kind of learned his lesson. I'm not going to start doing this months long.
Yeah.
Like he'll do the general. Look, Nintendo usually does directs February, June, September. So you kind of already have a general idea of when to typically expect them. But he doesn't start going like it's happening now until it's Friday or the Monday of the week. So and I think that's just him learning. Brazil claims that he learned his lesson and then he did something that he shouldn't have done by his own admission at this point. And I can't sit here and keep telling people that rumors are not facts and not meant to be believed. They're meant to be skeptical about them and then not actually contemplate the idea. And that's why I brought it up today. I knew I wanted to bring this up, that all this stuff could be bullshit and the Switch 2 could literally still be this year.
That'd be nice.
It would be very nice. But also, I'm not saying, by the way, this is not me saying it's going to happen. I know that's the Hopium Maximum. I'm still on the reveal this summer coming out March. But it's one of those things where I just go, I'm not ignoring that all these reports exist and all this corroboration. Some of it seems like it's from manufacturing. Some of it seems like it might be from very similar developer sources. I'm not ignoring all of that. I think that all these people, let me just put this out there. I do think Brazil has actual developer sources. I do think Nate the Hate has developer sources. I mean, look, he literally knows MVGs, who's a Switch developer. So he has probably real developer sources. I fully believe Andy Robinson over at Video Game Chronicle has actual, so he's been in this industry forever. I believe he has actual sources. I believe Takahashi has actual sources out in Japan, even if a lot of it's manufacturing. I firmly believe that he has sources. Nintendo Japan seems pretty locked down. Unless Pyoro really does live in Kyoto, then that's maybe the one exception where something from Japan's coming out. But I fully believe that all these places, like even, I'll give you another example. Here's someone whose track record right now is baller. Tom Henderson. Tom Henderson last year told us in September that hey, at this time next year, we're going to hear a lot of third-party games and also on Switch 2. He said that back in September. Now, that was obviously plans can change. The system could be delayed. We might not hear about it this September. Depends on when they announce it. However, what I find fascinating about Tom Henderson is he doesn't jump on the train of all. He wasn't corroborating any of this stuff. And yet he is one of the primary workers at a site called Insider Gaming. And he has literally hit on his last 17 in a row reports on inside information.
That's
all of it's come true. Every single one of them.
Damn.
Like he clearly has very damn good sources and he has not been corroborating any of this stuff happening. But he did corroborate or at least state that a bunch of third-party games are basically going to be on Switch 2. Like you're going to be surprised. It'll be like all of them almost. So I think it's interesting thinking about all of this in context of there could just be Nintendo could have literally finally figured out where the information was coming from. They might have even figured it out during the Switch Pro dilemma.
Yeah.
And realized, hey, it's not like, it's coming from developers with dev kits. Oh, Nintendo's not going to not give Ubisoft, not going to give these companies dev kits. They're absolutely going to still get dev kits. They got to make games. But Nintendo maybe doesn't give them the full information. Because the one thing I feel happens, if you remember, what was it stated about this? It was stated that Nintendo sent a letter to third-party developers, an email probably, right? Stating about how, hey, it's going to be next year, yada, yada, whatever. We don't know the exact statements of the letter, but it was stated that letter was sent. That's what everyone is citing, that there was a letter sent. I feel like if a letter was sent to every single person with a dev kit, don't you think that letter would have leaked by now?
I don't know.
Do you think someone would have tossed it on Pastebin and put it on 4chan?
I think the interesting thing about that is we don't get a lot of text leaks. Like we don't get a lot of email leaks. Like we hear them from people with.
And if
with
every
sources,
person with a dev kit got this letter, then how come it's only the same places that talked about Switch Pro talking about this when we know Tom Henderson has sources, when we know IGN has sources? No one else is corroborating this but the same outlets that were talking Switch Pro that probably have the same sources they had back then. But all these other sources we know have legit stuff haven't corroborated any of it. They're just reporting on these people, because they have proven reliable in the past. So I think there's just something fishy going on with all of this where Nintendo maybe didn't send that letter to everybody.
Now, are you saying that they didn't send a letter, period, or they only sent it to certain?
I think they sent a letter.
Yeah.
But I think they sent it to the people that they suppose leaks have been coming from.
Sure.
And by golly, they figured it out. Now, by the way, we just talked earlier how companies, and Mike Odyssey's brought this up on the podcast ages ago. They're like, companies will do this when they think there's leaks and they think they figured it out. Sometimes they'll feed some fake information just to see if that gets out, and boom, they nailed the leak.
Didn't they do that with, or was this just a rumor? Didn't they do that with Star Fox Grand Prix? Wasn't that like an
that was
actual,
completely made up? That was completely made up.
Okay, I feel like someone had told me that.
And
that
that's
was
the
one
funny
an
thing is a
example
lot of that thing
fake-
circulated in the same circle as all of this.
Right.
This is crazy. So Spheromancer in the chat is saying that Tom Henderson has hit on 160 of his last 162 claimed leaks as we verified on the Gaming Leak sub.
What
yes,
the heck?
he is literally considered a tier 1 leaker with Pioro. His reporting at Insider Gaming is absolute. I don't know if you guys pay attention. No, see, now that I do VG News and I'm covering everything, I always cover any of his reports. He just keeps hitting. His sources are so legit. It is insane. Like he like we talk about Jeff Grubb stuff. Jeff Grubb don't hit 160 out of 162. That's not how it works. He's about a 50-50, maybe a 60-40 hitter on his stuff. Tom Henderson's like 99%. And he didn't corroborate this stuff. So like I just sit back and I go, the same circle of people. And again, I'm not just throwing shade at any of these people. I've talked to Andy Robinson behind the scenes. He's a very friendly person. Obviously, I've had conversation with Nate the Hate and all these other people. I honestly think they have sources and they're just telling us what they're being told. It's not on them.
Yeah.
It's on the people breaking NDA to relay this information to them. And I think Nintendo may have figured out who those people are over the course of this Switch generation. And so while they're not cutting those people out from making games, they're not giving them fully accurate information on purpose. By the way, if Switch 2 ends up coming out this year and we find out when Nintendo reveals it, or all these insiders start saying when June hits, holy crap, Nintendo's about to reveal Switch 2 and it's coming out this holiday, and they start backtracking all their prior reports, we'll start to know that's exactly what Nintendo was doing.
I hope that's true.
Yeah, again, this is obviously getting into, I don't even want to say conspiracy theory territory. It's not really. We're talking about things we don't know to be true in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be wild. It would also kind of suck because it would mean that, like, oh, then I got to put the caveat out anytime I cover stuff from these people in the future. Oh, by the way, they were wrong about some pretty major things. Don't know if we should listen or not. Damn it. So I don't know. Again, kind of conspiracy theory like, but also I think there's some legit reasons to maybe think that. And you know what's funny? All those people that hit the comments that say, I don't believe this, remember Switch Pro. This would totally validate those statements because it's the same people. So just throwing it out there. And again, this is no shade at them. Don't go attack these people. Don't even share my theory with them. Look, they're supposed to believe their sources because they know who they are and they know what companies they work at. And they're very, I fully believe they have legitimate development sources, sources that are working with Switch 2 dev kits. That I don't doubt. But
You want to know what kind of gets me?
We'll get
Well,
your good.
this-
what's
All
that?
right. Now,
So
just-
Tucker, you were doing that victory lap earlier. Maybe it was too soon. Too soon.
We'll see. We'll see. The Mike Odyssey theory.
Yeah, and
Begins
Mike
to
Odyssey's been
gain
pushing
credibility.
2024 this whole
Credibility.
time.
It's only April. I mean, it's only
It's only April.
Yeah.
So this is what gets me.
Let me
I
know when the
remember-
Switch 2 patent hits, Mike.
I remember back in 2016,
Yeah.
When the Eurogamer reports were out for Switch 2, the hybrid Nintendo, not Switch 2, Switch, right? The NX, right? The hybrid console. And back then, I wasn't as aware of, the track records of the different reputable sites and things of that nature.
Sure.
But back then I was like, okay, yeah, this is a report, but why should I believe this? This is still technically a rumor. And so I didn't believe it. And what happened? It was real.
Yeah.
And so I felt I learned my lesson. Oh, Eurogamer is privy to real information and should be taken seriously. Right? But the tough part is that they are. But then also there are times they report on things that don't come true. So it's I guess it's one of those things where I guess what needs to be understood is that if we're going to be talking about these kinds of things, yeah, we may like to try and focus on the non-Zippos, right? The ones that
the Zippos we know that are not real versus
Right,
people like I just said, I do believe these places have real sources. So like, how do you cover that then when you know they might be being fed information that's not correct?
Yeah. But regardless of how valid you may think someone is or how credible they are, you kind of have to acknowledge that there's a solid chance in most cases that whatever's being discussed is just not going to happen in the way you're thinking or at all.
I think that's good for content creators like you and me that cover a lot of rumor stuff, that maybe I'm not going to stop covering it from places that I find to be valid enough to talk about. But I think it also will help frame. I think we're going to handle rumors a lot different in the Switch 2 era is what I think is going to happen. We're going to cover them. We're going to discuss them. We're going to talk about the possibilities and why they might be right and how it can make sense. But I think we're also going to be a lot more on that other side as well, but that's only tells half the story. Could be wrong. Here's other examples of times that this person was wrong with Nintendo reports. We need to remember that rumors are not meant to be, because I feel like during the Switch era, I know I personally didn't. I would always mention, oh, it's a rumor. It might not necessarily be true, but most of my video was talking as if it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, it's going to be, I'll still talk like that, but I'm also going to give the other side where, hey, we also need to remember that this could not be the truth. This could happen. This could happen until it comes from Nintendo. This is just for fun discussion and talking about possibilities, but take it for what you will. And I'll let you know in certain instances if I think something is maybe a bit more believable, like if it's from Pioro as an example, probably a bit more believable with a more consistent track. Tom Henderson, right? Bit more believable, bit better track record. But for the most part, still rumors. Because I feel like even watching some of your old videos, Andres, throughout the Switch era, it was very much we'd always mention it's rumors that might not be real. That was all. We were pretty consistent with that. But most of the video was like talking about it as if it would be real and why it would make sense, and it would kind of convince people that it's happening.
Yeah, I think there are times when I'm like, yeah, there's just things that may lead to it not being true. Like I definitely try to like cover both sides, but when I'm excited about something,
that's what happens. It's a slant because like we want it to be true.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing. Like let's say the Metroid stuff that we heard from Special Nick sounds amazing, sounds awesome. Holy crud! Practically almost close to open world, really massive zones. This sounds incredible. Maybe this could take Metroid to the next level of popularity or whatever. But it's like, but also could also not be real.
Yeah.
And he's not speaking from firsthand knowledge. Actually, that brings me to, did you read that post by Jason Schreier over on the Gaming League subreddit?
No.
He posts on that Reddit? Really?
He usually doesn't, but he put up a post on an explanation of rumors, reporting, and sources. And he went really big into secondhand sources, single primary source, multiple sources, documentation. In conclusion, it's a very long post, and it's pinned by the Gaming and Leaks subreddit forum because Jason Schreier is obviously considered like a Tom Henderson level of he really knows his shit. He doesn't talk about it unless he's 100% sure. And he was trying to point out that people get really into rumors and leaks when it's not firsthand information. So as an example, which he's not saying you can't talk about, you just need to understand the context of that conversation and what you're having. Special Nick did not see Metroid Prime 4 himself.
No, someone he knows
that also, by the way, doesn't work there, saw it, So that's already like secondhand from it's already one level removed from Retro. He's another level removed from Retro Studios, and we are a whole nother level removed. So by the time you hear it through our video, we're like the third or fourth line in that chain.
It's the cliche. It's the cliche definition of what a rumor is. You go back to elementary school when they would put you in a row. 5 or 6 kids.
Telephone.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. There are several people it's going through before it gets to the viewer.
And even though, like, I know a lot of us content creators, we'll give you our opinions, and it might slant the thing a certain way, but we will often give you, here's where it's publicly coming from and the source and the real quotes. You can decipher that for yourself, but because it's coming from us, we have a slant. And Jason Schreider doesn't ever say that the slant is bad when you read what he posted, but it's more so just clarifying, like understanding that why things might seem very, with people that have a reliable track record, might seem very off at times because things are going down the chain in a certain way. And sometimes there's only a single primary source, which is some of the least reliable stuff, no matter how much you trust that single primary source. Because example, the stuff we reported on back with the Zelda event and the Metroid being almost done, that was a single primary source. And while obviously, hey, that Zelda stuff was right, nailed it, seems very reliable, technically it's one primary source, which is not as reliable as having multiple different primary sources. And so when you're really confident in that primary source, he's not saying you can't talk about it, but he does feel that people that do need to be more clarifying in their reports. So the readers have proper context of, hey, I'm reporting on this thing from a reliable source, not sources.
Single source.
And sometimes people don't clarify that, especially when it comes like on tweets and stuff like that. So, and then obviously for content creators, like Jason Schreider doesn't hate YouTubers. There was a time he was very much against YouTube, but he's embraced it over the years. And he now does some stuff on YouTube. And he's pointed out that like he's got nothing against content creators outside of the fact that they don't always do their due diligence and their research to try to get that clarification. And sometimes it's not their fault because the clarification doesn't exist.
Right. Nate, I'm just going to step in here real quick. Gamebird's looking to head out, so I just want to give him a chance to plug himself and let us know.
Damn it, Gamer! No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
No,
you're
something came up, but next time, if you have me on again, I will be able to.
I hate you. You can't come back. I'm just kidding.
Full show.
Oh, Cameron's great. What's wrong with you?
Do the flag.
That's right.
Do the catchphrase.
The catchphrase.
I have a catchphrase.
Yeah,
There it is.
But no, Nate, thanks so much for having me on again.
Absolutely,
always a blast. As I tell anytime I go on someone's show, love talking Nintendo. Anytime you need me, anytime you want me,
gotcha, buddy.
I'll make an effort to be there.
Dude, just DM me with your next availability, man. Just hit me up.
And super cool to meet Tucker and to meet Eric.
Yeah.
Andres and I go back a few years, handful of years.
A long time.
So always always good to see Andres and chat with him. And Mike, it was good to see you again. People in the audience, if you haven't heard of me, I'm Gamebird Classic. Feel free to check out my channel. I'm a Nintendo content creator. Channel's been a little slow. I've got a few videos in the pipeline, and I'm also planning out. Sometimes I do skits on the channel, like comedic, a little bit like cinematic skits. I have a really fun one that I'm working on. It's going to be a little bit off Switch 2 related, but I think it's going to be fun. I think it's gonna be funner than the last one.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch
on you. He's also gonna be on the next episode of Heated Debate.
Maybe. I will love to be on Heated Debate. Although I don't know
take him down. Take him down. Come on. I didn't get heated enough.
We got to find a topic that we really.
I think I found one. I found one during the show. I'll hit you.
Oh snap!
I'm still working on mine.
Andres is loving the podcast now because he's finding new opponents with new topics.
The more I talk, the more I realize things I can.
For sure.
Can. When Bo came onto my stream last night, I was like, "Oh, Bo, we could talk about this."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There we go.
Bo Talk seems a good one too. He's got definitely some opinions that I would disagree with.
Maybe
you know you can do at a certain point, Andres. You could even do you could host heated debates between two other people
Yeah,
and
it's
be
a
like
good
a
idea.
moderator.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You could referee.
They'll
Yeah,
put on the
essentially.
Hold on, I want a timeout. Both of you.
Gloves
Get too
off.
heated.
Point
Too
co-
many F-bombs.
Point counter underneath
Call
each
them.
one.
Yeah.
We should
Point
award
counter.
Victor. You should award.
Do the fake points. Like what's
during
that one?
after each.
What's
Oh,
that
yeah,
one show on
segment.
ESPN that did the
Yeah.
fake point thing?
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, do
Oh,
fake points.
That's some good
Oh,
ideas.
Jesus, what the hell
Yeah.
is that?
Pie the loser. I don't know.
I don't even know if that
Make it
show's still
fun.
around on ESPN anymore.
Oh,
I don't know.
freaking A.
Where the points don't really matter.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
Yeah, I know. I literally know what it is in my head, but I can't remember what it's called. I'm gonna be really mad when you figure
Oh,
out what
my
it is
Lord.
too. So,
But with that
Gamer,
being said, guys,
thank you for
Yes.
being here. Go
I
subscribe
gotta
to his
take.
channel. He's linked down below, and Charles Trudell put it in the chat for you guys. So
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah! And guys, one more thing. I do have an inside source gave me a huge tip before the show started. Allegedly, the Switch 2 is going to have some sort of dual screen mechanic, and the official name is going to be the Nintendo Flip. And with that, I am out. My
wait,
friend.
is this like real right now? What is happening?
No, I'm just having fun. I just wanted to leave. I should have said, yeah, no, seriously,
Yeah,
dude.
Mike.
But the
That
Nintendo
would've-
Flip.
that
There we
would've
go.
changed the
Headline
tenor
tomorrow
of
of my
the rest
video,
of the night.
Gamer Classic comes in. Oh, dude, I
And
made
then
that up.
disappear
Oh,
from the
shit.
internet.
Oh shit.
And when they reveal it, you will lose, and it will have a cool sound effect. Your
Huh?
flipping mind.
There you
The
go.
Nintendo Flip.
Ah.
You heard
Got
here.
it. Later, man. Have a good night, man.
Thank you, guys. Take it
Here,
easy.
bro.
Around the horn.
Around the horn. That was what I was thinking of.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, now we can talk about the Nintendo Flip for the rest of the night.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Wow,
no,
I
no,
know
I
now
actually
for
want to
freaking
throw
hour,
this
yeah.
at Mike. Mike's
And you know
been
what the-
very
wait, you know
quiet.
what hold on. You know what the launch game would be?
He doesn't like the fact that
Flip
we said
Wars.
Nintendo Direct isn't happening next week. He's like, "Fuck you guys, Nintendo Direct's happening."
Mike Odyssey is a forever optimist. That is for sure.
I mean, I
All
want
his
to
Nintendo
believe-
Direct predictions are like the greatest showcase of all time, every time.
I want the Direct to happen next week.
I forgot I was
Please.
on the podcast for a minute there. I was just like, I'm like,
I'm just
Like,
listening.
who are these jackasses talking?
I was shopping on Amazon here. I was trying to find a pool.
And
Find
he's just doing what he does most Wednesdays when he's listening on the show when he's not on.
There you
So,
go.
Mike, you've been a big proponent of 2024 still being a possibility.
Mhm.
And look, we don't know what the hell's happening in 2024. That's what this whole topic is really about,
I mean,
not just Switch 2. So,
you said it best. Sometimes leaks are put in there for a reason. It happened with Apple. I can tell you officially, now that I'm not employed with them anymore, it happened with Apple. They did release a whole bunch of information out there to see where that information was coming out through, and they happened to catch the person. Not only did they fire the person, but they jailed the person as well.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
that information was then leaked out to a content creator that covers Apple leaks and stuff like that. Very known creator. I don't want to say his name because, but that's how they found out where the leak was coming from, and they canned the person, and then they're in jail because of it. This person was basically in a position where they knew, they worked closely with the marketing department, and so marketing department is where you actually know when things are happening, in the date, and what to market. And so when you mentioned that, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it really sounds like it, because if we have Furukawa, who's a guy who's interested in money, wants to protect his money, then he'll do whatever he can to protect the sources. And because it came out like Audrey was saying earlier, that there could be a possibility that Nintendo doesn't go to Gamescom because they're upset at what happened last year. That could also be. You know what I mean?
And just imagine that May 7th comes. It's the financial briefing, and they're talking about their forecast for the year, and they're just like, yeah, you guys keep asking about new hardware. We do have new hardware coming this fiscal year. In fact, we have a planned event for it next month, and we're planning to launch it by the end of the calendar year.
March.
I'll run laps.
March.
Yeah, people would just go nuts. Here's the
I'll
thing:
run laps.
the expectations right now are set like so much, like, oh, screw this, we're never gonna get this thing. It's not real, blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, Nintendo's like, no, it's actually been coming this year, this entire damn time.
I mean, it makes sense to cut the release time frame from announcement to release. That would actually get rid of the dip that comes before a console launch. So
Yeah. and explains why there's nothing after June.
I'm still team 2024. I'm optimistic. I still believe there's a Nintendo Direct coming soon. I don't think it's next week or the following, but it's coming soon, maybe in next month, in May. Because all I know is that there's a couple of empty months in the year, and I think by the end of the year they're not going to be empty anymore. That's all I know.
I also find it curious. I know it's weird to bring it up now because I don't think it's happening when he heard it was happening. Jeff Grubb mentioned that Metroid event that he was aware of but never really talked about publicly until after he thought it was no longer going to be happening. At least happening when he heard it was going to happen, and because he said it was old information from last year.
And then the Epic Mickey thing happened in the partner showcase, and he was like, "Oh, well, maybe it's still going to happen."
Yeah, because it was a related source that gave him the Epic Mickey Rebrush thing that he knew about. He's like, "Whoa, that's why he was like, the cool thing about this happening is it's like, oh shit." But he did reiterate that it's not like he thinks like a Metroid event wouldn't occur at some point, just that he didn't think it was going to happen when he heard it was, which was May. That's when he said it was when he heard it would happen. A big Metroid event, which would be like a Metroid Direct, which probably have 2 and 3 and 4 is what we would probably presume. Maybe even an announcement of a new side-scrolling one, maybe for 2026 or something, if they want to go that crazy.
So many games.
He didn't clarify what would be in it. He's just like, if it's a Metroid event, you can imagine that there could be a multiple Metroid games talked about it. But the Metroid Prime 4
when did he mention a Metroid event?
That's what he called it. He said it's supposed to be a Metroid. Well, maybe he said blowout.
A marketing campaign.
Yes, a marketing campaign or something. Yeah.
No, a marketing campaign doesn't necessarily like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh well, what if there's like a direct? But that's a what if. Hopium Maximum.
And he didn't say it would be a direct. So it's kind of like I don't know. Here's what I'll say. Assuming that like the source was right on that, and again, rumors are rumors are rumors. He's not even saying it's going to happen to me. He's just now like second thinking, wait a second.
It also could be old info. Could have been before Switch 2 was delayed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But what if Switch 2 wasn't delayed is my point. And the reason it's May is because they're gonna announce Switch 2's existence and planned release at the investors meeting, follow it up with this thing and Metroid's a dual launch, and you were right this whole time, and it's launch window and
Metroid Prime's the next,
and that's why they're holding off Metroid Prime 4 because they're not showing it until Switch 2's announced.
I mean, it does make a lot of sense.
Everything still makes sense for Switch 2 to be this year. If you ignore the reports, nothing has happened to make it if we just think about Nintendo's own actions. Everything still kind of sets up for Switch 2 this year. Nothing changed. The release slate hasn't really changed. Hey, no direct at the beginning of the year would make a hell of a lot of sense if their plan is to have Switch 2 in the second half of this year. But why didn't they do the March event? Maybe that was bad information too. And they said that back at Gamescom just because they knew it would get out and they wanted to see who was putting it out there. Again, maybe that's when they started those feelers, and then they did the second feelers with the delay talk just to see who heard about that. I'm just throwing out there that like, if all of that stuff is incorrect, which again, I'm not saying all the Switch Pro things were incorrect. I fully believe there was dev kits and all of that, but clearly it never hit a point that it was going to come out, even though they all felt like it was going to. Because I feel like I don't feel like they mass manufactured a bunch of chips and then threw them out.
Yeah.
So clearly it never got to a point that it was being mass manufactured in order for people to feel like it was coming out. So
the interesting thing is that next week would be basically the time that Nintendo gave us a release window for NX back in 2016.
Well, that was because of the financial meeting. They announced the Dena partnership. They sometimes do it in April. They sometimes do it in May.
So you're saying that when they announced the NX release day, release month back in late
that was April 2016. It was at the financial meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, well, of course. And that's actually what I'm most excited about, frankly. And it sounds kind of weird to be excited.
That's why May 7th is like that next time where it's like, we could get a lot of clarification at that.
By the way, it's still a long way from now. It's 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I think officially,
have patience, everyone.
I think we will hear at least officially a code name for Switch. I think it will be the first time Nintendo acknowledges the console officially.
How many degrees? With a code name?
Like how cold are we talking?
With the code name.
Code name, yeah, code name.
No cold name.
No cold.
Nintendo does need to. They need to present a realistic expectations for their their investors moving forward for the future.
So I'll tell you this. I think it's interesting about this, right? Because I brought up the possibility that maybe Switch 2 doesn't come out March 2025. It comes out even later.
Yeah.
If we don't find out about it,
you're moving to that team.
by May 7th, I will be
retiring.
Finally, yes. No more.
No, I don't want him to retire.
I'm just joking. I might retire before May 7th at this rate, but
dude,
you got all these indie
our
games.
heated debate gets more views than my videos, so I just got to keep showing up on your channel. Apparently,
yeah, there you go.
Maybe we should just do a heated debate every week, every day.
Ooh, every day.
Jesus Christ!
Might get old if it's every day.
Just rebrand your channel, heated debates.
We could become the new Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith for Nintendo.
Oh snap!
We'll both.
It's actually not a bad idea for a show. To be completely honest,
I like it.
I've always had an idea of a Nintendo-based show that was presented like a talk show. You have you're sitting at the desk, you have on the
I also just realized I probably should go watch the Game and Talk podcast. RGT is gonna love that I brought it up because Nate the Hate was on it. See if
yeah.
I'm gonna respectfully ask you to stop talking. I'll do an NDA. NDA.
You're the new Eric. You talk too much. Shut up.
No, I'm like. He said, "Oh, a Nintendo show that's like a talk show." I'm like, NDA. The Mike Odyssey show. It's still under production.
Oh, my bad.
Well,
do you have an estimated launch time for episode 1?
You see, I'm waiting on them to send me the damn TV. For part of my French. There's something.
Oh yeah, the thing you told us about.
Yeah, they're sending me a 100-inch TV as like a sponsored thing, and so I'm taking this wall down. I'm putting I'm rebuilding the wall, adding like a wood slabs.
Wood slabs, yeah.
And make it like in like texture, make it look like a talk show, right? Like a Tonight Show. I have a big neon sign that goes in the corner with the logo and the name. Like a little chair with the microphone coming up, the big giant screen, that's part of the set that I'm building over here. So I'm waiting for that so that I can continue, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. But if they don't get back to me in the next, I'll say next month, then I'll do it by my 50K. I'll release the first episode of Mike Odyssey show on my 50K video, which is, by the way, it is a Nintendo talk show. Tucker, so you
gotcha. Okay,
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I got something going on behind it. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut though for now.
So
I am not making a Nintendo Talk Show. I've had conversations about it because we had a show called Nintendo at Night, which is a very good name, obviously for that Metro style thing.
At night.
Yeah. What Nintendo at Night is that we would get in our pajamas and record from our beds.
Love it.
And we would talk about Nintendo
concept.
Memories. And so we would read out the comments from our community members and be like, oh, what are your favorite memories of Pokemon? And so we'd literally sit in our beds with our microphones snuggled up with us and talk about it. Was very fun. We only done it a couple of times, but then we were like, well, what if we could turn this into a talk show thing? We don't have the time for that.
Yeah, time.
It's gonna be a lot of work.
So generate because it is a talk show, I'm actually reducing my schedule from daily to just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday so that I can produce the entire show. And then I already talked to these kids behind the scenes about some segments that I'm having.
Hey, Grandpa.
You're invited as well, Tucker.
Oh, hell yeah.
To participate. It's gonna be fun, but think about the Tonight Show. And just change every subject to Nintendo stuff, even like an opening monologue, comedic with Nintendo news, but with a comedic kind of tone to it. Guest shows, games, prizes.
Perfect transition, Mike. Let them know where they can find you at.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, are we leaving already?
Well, you literally, it's not early, it's actually late. But you were just describing and advertising your chat. Perfect time.
You're right.
Just continue that into the sign out.
You're right. All right. So thank you, Nate. So yeah, Mike Odyssey show coming soon. Hopefully to the theater near you. First episode. And you can find me at the Odyssey Right now, I'm doing daily videos, normal one topic daily videos, breaking news topics, trending, instead of doing like multiple stories.
Sure.
And so hopefully once I get the show done and ready, it's gonna be a Nintendo talk show. So it's gonna be 10% news, 90% entertainment, and we're gonna have also Mike Odyssey show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We'll have Mike Odyssey live, the Mike Odyssey show live Tuesday and Wednesday, and on Saturdays we'll have like a little the last Saturday of every month we'll have the Mike Odyssey live super show, which is a giveaway show. It's like I'll bring my subscribers on camera with me, and we'll do like a talk show, just doing Nintendo trivia. You can win a Nintendo geek. The big prize is always going to be the $100 gift card for the eShop, but you can win a $10, $15. You have to win your way up to the $100 gift card. So it's like a deal or no deal kind of or like a millionaire, onto that $100 gift card, and then in the Christmas edition, I'm giving out all my secrets. Christmas edition, it's the same game, but Nintendo Switch, and then hopefully when Super Nintendo World opens, it'll be a trip to Super Nintendo World.
Holy mackerel!
I live right here, so I can actually fly people, a party of 4, to my house. You guys can stay in our guest room, and I'll drive you myself to Super Nintendo World. We'll go in. We'll have a little
the nicest guy ever made.
I don't think Mike Odyssey himself is going to be driving.
Oh yeah, not me.
I heard drive myself. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, I'll have an Uber guy for the
chauffeur.
Yeah. But that's a possibility because I have a Super Nintendo World right next to me. They're building it.
That's awesome.
So I mean, that's all the plans. Hopefully, I make it till then. But
Bama! You guys see what just happened?
Heat. Oh yeah. So earlier, my mouth gaped because I thought someone randomly gifted 50 memberships, and it they did. It was you though. So I was like, all right, well, it's your channel.
Yeah. Not that big a deal when it's me.
But now it's someone else. So
yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I still have my
Bama, okay. Bama, are you trying to challenge me right now? Shit.
What's it? Bahamut?
What's wild though is you're seeing a lot of people who don't normally like respond.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who watch but don't actually say anything in the chat.
It's crazy.
How many memberships are there?
I don't know what I'm at before tonight.
It's 50. It's 50. I'm like how many? It's right
I'm
there.
just saying that the memberships are showing lurkers. Lurkers.
They're not lurkers. They're just people who like to sit back, watch the show, and eat.
Yeah, that's what lurking is.
It's not lurking. That's just being part of the show.
Lurking's not a bad thing. Lurking's great.
I like the word lurker.
I lurk on a lot of Andres Restart Nintendo Prime videos. I'm out myself. I don't leave comments particularly often.
That's fine. I don't like commenting on videos either. I'm a lurker.
Hey, I wish more people would comment.
Dude, I will say this. As like a content creator, like I always want people to like and leave comments. I don't think I like and leave comments on any video I watch ever.
I know what you mean.
I will share once in a while a video with people, or I will. Yeah, I just don't really. I don't know. And then
I make sure to always like and watch. I need to start making sure that I like videos that I actually truly enjoy, because I'm not like a lot of people where you watch for like a minute and dip out. I actually watch the entire video, and I need to start making sure that the videos I really like why did I for a moment wanted to bring up Nintendo Forecast today, dude? I love his content. It's amazing. I'm trying to work out getting him on a podcast. He actually sounds like he's a UK creator. He sounded like he actually might make the time coming up in June to actually be on our show live at our normal time. So I won't have to move it for him, which is pretty cool because he didn't want me to move everything for one person, which I understand. So, and we have done it before, but I think he's coming from the perspective he's a smaller creator and he doesn't want me to make everyone else move for him. Although I'd be willing to, because he's awesome, but it is hard when I move because, people work and have jobs during the day. So like, it's really hard. I mean, I can get Andres Restart to come on if he knows ahead of time, maybe Mike Odyssey, but like, I can't get like the normal crew or normal amount of people. Like when we do the Kit and Krista ones, like they always want to do it at noon. Like Eric was on the one time he had to take off work to come do that. Like, so it's
I know well enough in the
Well, with them, I always know well enough in advance. So anyways, I that's one of the things. I don't think I've ever dropped a like on his videos, and yet I've watched every single video of his for like the last month. And I think it actually is a really good practice for me to get into. One, it also helps the algorithm start suggesting me more videos I actually like. There's
Well, that's
that
a good point.
too.
Yeah.
So I might not always comment, and also I think if I do comment, I probably should do it for my main account anyways. If I did, so because I might comment, I've noticed when I do comment on other channels, tends to get more attention because I got the check mark next to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting when I get like a comment from like Bo or Andres, it like pops up. It gives me a notification on my phone, which it doesn't happen with other people. Like when it's like a big channel, it gives you like a special
bigger channel. Yeah.
Hey,
I've noticed too when I comment. Like there was one time I commented on a Linus Tech Tips video with my main account, and then literally within 5 minutes of the comment, it got hearted, and I did it like 4 days later, which means somebody at Linus Tech Tips got the notification that I commented and they read it, and it's like, oh. So that's the power of the check mark, which is cool, but also maybe I
So and
use the power.
I'm not gonna. I shouldn't. I got to be a little more. Use my other accounts to talk, unless I specifically, want to do something like that on those bigger channels.
But I've gotten a
I don't.
compliment here and there every blue moon from you on a channel.
Yeah, I comment every once in a while. Sometimes a minor correction, usually really minor, or it's just, hey, good point. I like this. That's I don't really leave a lot of comments in general. So
I also noticed that, and maybe it's just the kind of videos that I make, but that they don't get a lot of comments. I mean, I was even just looking today, like there's a 2-week gap between the last comment and then a comment I got a day ago. 2 weeks, and nobody commented on any of my videos. And I was like, damn, I want to know what people are thinking. And now, to be fair, most people watching my videos are in my Discord community, and we talk about our videos and we talk about the topic. So it's not like I'm getting no one talking about it, but it's just funny. It's like 2 weeks. It's such a long time without a comment.
Yeah.
Then start the episode with a question.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
I used to do that a lot.
Yeah.
That's the point of our videos though, is they're about questions, and then we just kind of like go through it. And so, and also, again, mostly people watching my videos are in the community, and they're the ones submitting comments previously for the video.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Because what we do, and I think what is so fun about having a community that's interested, is we format our conversations around the comments that we get previously, and so they get to be a part of the conversation and shift and shape it as it's going. And it's been really fun. I mean, some of the more recent stuff we've done, just like getting some really like in-depth comments in there. And usually I just go through, paste them into a Google Doc, trim it down so it's not like 10 paragraphs. Yeah. But that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, guys, I'm really glad Tucker's talking about this stuff. You need to go check out his channel. What's your channel name again?
Backlog Banter. Yeah, it was actually Charles Trudell just linked it.
Yeah, you guys should go subscribe to his channel, man. They did some really good content as well.
I like the name.
And I like growing small. Like, look, I first noticed Tucker when he was on a thing with Andres Research Channel, and I was like, dude, I love makes really good points. He knows what he's talking about. He's well talked. And by the way, he also sounds pretty good. He's got a nice little sound setup. So
thank you.
Yeah, it all kind of lines up where I kind of think this guy would be good to have on the show sometime. So I'm glad to have you on, man. I hope to have you on, obviously, again in the future. Same thing I told Gamer Classic. Just DM me and tell me, man. I got Wednesdays galore open up. You just tell me. You can schedule a month out. We have like I know when Saffron City TV is coming on again. She literally schedules right after, like the day after she comes on the show. She schedules out like a month. So I try to encourage all of my guests to do that because especially while I have you here, because hey, for me, it's a lot of work. I'm talking to a lot of different people to put together the show. So like it's nice if some people would just come to me and just tell me. It's a lot easier that way.
Yeah.
Especially if you're having a good time. If you don't want to come back on, it's fine. I understand. I'm kind of an asshole. Eric, what do you got going on? Mr. Babyface. For a moment, I was like, did the camera freeze?
Yeah, you're just sitting there.
Moved in like a minute.
Shaved, right?
I am just that good. I am
if it
just
wasn't
that
for the
good.
TV in the background,
Yeah, right?
I'm like, did he fall asleep with his eyes open?
Yep.
What's happening?
Nope, I'm here. That's it.
Wednesdays and other special occasions sometimes.
Yes.
Like maybe he'll be potentially, don't know, but maybe he'll be your Summer Game Fest night for that live stream. We'll see.
Let me know.
It's a night, and they do it at night.
Yeah, let me know. I don't.
I have a
know
feeling
what
this
date is
next
it.
I
SGF
think
is
it's the
going to be pretty
7th
good.
of June. I don't know. You can look it up.
I've got it. Hold on, I've got it on my calendar because I'm a fucking nerd. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't have it on my
It
calendar
is.
yet.
It is
June
the
7th, Summer
Yep.
Game Fest.
There
Yeah,
we go.
but
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Yeah. What day is that?
Friday.
Okay, it's Friday.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have anything going on.
Cool. Sounds good to me. Mr. Ravenclaw over there, the only person to get a super chat to change their name.
oh, is that how that works? Wait, could someone have changed my name?
They
Mhm.
could have,
Yeah.
but they didn't. They
You know what,
didn't even
guys?
change mine.
Hey.
I changed my own name
Hey,
because apparently I'm a hobbit.
137 people watching right now. Frankly, disappointed in you. Frankly, you should have changed my name. Call me cock and balls for all I care. I wish you'd changed my name though. Be better next time. By which I mean be worse. Be weird and creepy and change my name.
He's
to some
telling you
bullshit.
he's open season. Is
Oh,
what he's
absolutely.
saying.
Jake Randall came on here and told everyone I was a gay porn star. That's the kind of guy I am. I'm like, hey, you know what? Why not?
whoa, now, whoa, all right.
What he didn't tell you is that he became a gay porn star right after.
Yeah, it's been 3 hours. I've had so
Yeah.
much time. I've had so much time.
All right, Mr. Ravenclaw, what do you got going on?
Well, I'm officially now announcing my retirement tour. It's going to last somewhere between 50 and 70 years. So,
Well, shit.
yeah.
That's pretty,
sure
that's
to-
pretty good.
Make sure to watch my channel while it lasts.
That's hilarious.
While it lasts.
Yeah.
Might last longer than YouTube itself does. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So,
My retirement tour or YouTube. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, one's happening first. We don't know what.
Are you doing Prime Gaming Fest this year?
What do you mean?
Oh, he's talking to me.
Yeah.
No,
No.
there will never be another Prime Gaming Fest.
Oh no.
It is done. It is dead.
Canceled.
By the way, this doesn't mean I'll never do a giveaway event again. We ain't doing Prime Gaming Fest. There is no multi 3, 5, 7 day long thing. Not happening anymore.
Okay. Okay. So it's canceled.
I announced it last year. This isn't even new news. I
So,
announced it at the end of Prime Gaming Fest last year.
Are you still doing like the entire day thing or no?
For Summer Game Fest?
Yeah.
That is something I don't know about because that's not based on giveaways. That's based on events. So if there's events going on, yes.
Well, I guess if we call it Prime Gaming Fest, it's not giving.
No, not happening.
I still have my T-shirt. I spent money.
I still wear my sweatshirt on videos. It's now retro. It's a retro collection.
It's like a classic now. It's like a
Yeah, we still sell that stuff, by the way. But now it's just going to be for people who are in the know. So, like a decade from now, when I'm a 1 million subscriber YouTube channel,
remember that.
10-year plan, 1 million subscriber channel.
1 year from now.
1 year, 10 years. I'm going 10. But what I will say is, if that happens, it will very much be retro at that point because very few people on the channel would even know what the hell Prime Gaming Fest is. You would have literally had to be here before, because Prime Gaming Fest. Yulia told me I was doing it before we even hit 100,000 subscribers. So there's never been one planned after 100K. So,
okay,
just saying, you had to be here.
It was fun times, man.
I really enjoyed it, and I might do. I'm not saying there won't be a show that might feel. No, I won't feel the same, but there might be a show eventually that is a one-off, but it won't be Prime Gaming Fest, and that's not.
It could be digital.
It's gonna be more so a celebratory show because we hit a certain number of subscribers.
Okay, that makes sense.
But
Yeah.
that it's so far off. I'm not even really planning it.
Mhm.
It's more so there's an idea for it.
Okay,
But that again, it's a one-off thing. So
yeah.
I mean, think Mr. Beast signing 7 million t-shirts.
I saw that episode,
And
dude.
double it.
Except
Man.
it may be split in half, and half are just Eric and half for me, and I really apologize if you get Eric's signature.
I do too. Half of them might have dicks drawn on them. You never know.
He did that, I think, on a couple of them. He
Get the,
just drew
get
some
the
random-
dick shirt.
Just a random, signed it and then just hide a dick somewhere on it.
Oh, it's hilarious.
You can put, you can put dicks on the inside.
I mean, yeah.
And then,
And the funny thing is,
people-
those shirts
most
weren't
people
given
won't
away;
know.
they were
Yeah.
sold. So imagine that I pre-buy like 1 million T-shirts, and
Yeah.
I only sell like 10.
Oh,
Right.
oh no.
That would be so bad.
We've been thinking about doing a small T-shirt run because we had.
You
some
know what I
made-
could do with those shirts? I can get rid of all my foam pads. I can just line my whole office in shirts, layers and layers
There
of
you
shirts
go.
for sound dampening.
I
I just spent $300,000 on t-shirts. And
Well, yeah, because then there you make the video, and then the video makes some money. You make a little bit of back. It's actually an investment. It's an investment.
It's an investment in the $100 I
You
might
make the
make
Mr.
on that
Beast video. Then I cover my studio in t-shirts.
So Ravenclaw left before he could say where he's at. He's Andres Restart. You can find him everywhere Andres Restart is heard. I don't know what he's doing right now.
Listen,
Oh, whoa,
Turn
whoa.
the camera off for a second.
Hold on. Hey, put the tissues away.
what happened?
You know what he was doing? He was
He had to
watching
turn
my
the camera
work.
off for a
He's
second.
watching
He
the
needs
race
some
to work.
privacy.
The heck, dude?
No, he had to go read. He didn't want us to see his face reaction to being told. He just got exclusive information on the next direct, and he's like, I don't want people to see my face reaction right now.
Listen, I forgot something really quick, very important, like strictly important. I'm moving.
Okay.
I'm selling this out. We're selling the house.
No.
So I wasn't counting on that when I was like, wait a minute, we're moving.
So you're gonna put panels up in a house that you're not gonna live in?
That's the thing. I'm not going to do that anymore. That was said earlier today with my wife. I'm like, wait, I'm not doing that anymore. We're doing it in the next house. So the Mike Galaxy show might begin sooner than that.
Well, I mean, everything's getting revamped at that point then.
Yeah. So forget what I said. Forget everything I said. I'm doing the Mike Galaxy show soon.
Now he's moving to a smaller place and gonna have to do it out of his car.
It's the opposite. I'm moving to a bigger place. Like we'll have
So he's gonna have a bigger studio. Oh man, your
Nice.
studio might be bigger than mine then.
the studio's gonna be like this room, like twice this room, and then another room.
Oh my god, yeah, you're gonna make my studio look tiny.
It's because
I feel like I have a lot of space. Then again, I've already been sort of given permission to expand into another room that's like the same size as this one if I ever need to.
So
That'll be when I'm hiring people at that point, though.
the thing is that you guys know that my father-in-law passed away last year.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing is basically there's she's selling her house, we're selling our house, we're she's moving in with us. We're buying a 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom house, but there's being built. And then I told him to do instead of a 3-car garage, we'll do a 4-car garage so that I can take half of it and then cover it up and then just turn that into the studio. So basically,
nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's
So when you see the mice running in the back, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
there's a brand
The
new
Gators.
All right. Well, Andres, did you tell people where you're at? I kind of did while you were doing your vanishing act.
Yep.
If you're
Okay,
watching
we're
the
good.
stream and you don't know how Andres Restart is,
What's
there's
wrong
a-
with you?
Yeah, exactly.
I did. He
Reggie,
should be
what's
bigger
wrong
than
with you?
me. He should already be at 100K. Should already have happened. But whatever.
I wish
Maybe at the end of the retirement tour.
By the end in 50 to 70 years. Obviously, you guys know I'm the host of Nintendo Prime. You can find me everywhere. Podcasts are not just heard because yes, the audio version will finally go back up. But also, look, I'm just gonna say this. Enjoy this podcast while it lasts because we have one more episode left in season 2. That's episode 69, by the way. Perfect way to end.
Nice.
Nice.
Congratulations.
To end season 2. I'm not yet sure if the next season is going to be called season 3 or if I'm just going to kind of just let it be episode 1 because
reboot.
The podcast is getting rebranded. You'll still be able to find it on the same playlist. Like if you already have the playlist set, you already have all of our podcasts like saved as a favorite. It'll still be that. We're not going to make you guys have to follow a new place or a new channel or any of that stuff. We'll just rename it. But there's going to be a slight rebranding. Well, a slight rebrand. It's a pretty big rebrand. But it's still going to be a Nintendo podcast, and there's going to be some significant changes to the podcast. Andres is aware of all the changes, or most of them, anyways. I give him a big long text about it before. I think it's going to be a very different show than what you know now. Much more focused.
More nudity.
More nudity.
Squirrel.
Much
It's
more
gonna, be,
focused.
it's gonna be only Jake Randall, and
It's
he's
gonna
just
be
doing
it's
his
gonna be
bit the entire time.
shorter episodes, but much more focused conversations, and yeah, maybe even potentially eventually a small interview segment with guests. But that Bobby won't be there the very first episode. So we're just going to get all the changes in place first and then ride with it for a bit. And then I'll slowly implement some of the other stuff I'm thinking. So
more
anyways,
more
we're still going to have guests, like the same old guests who still want to have like up to 6 people every show and all that stuff. So that part doesn't change, but you guys will see. Hopefully you guys agree that it's positive changes. And if you hate it, well, I'm really sorry. I'm always trying to make things to progress this is kind of how I've been as a content creator. If you stay stagnant and stay the same too long, people get bored.
Yeah.
You gotta always evolve into new things. VG News, this. I'm still gonna cover Nintendo rumors and all that, but I need something to do when there is none of that stuff going on. That's what VG News is for. Even VG News is gonna evolve eventually because there's already future plans for it. That once we get into the heyday, like people think, oh, you're just a jet. I'm like, no. I'm not actually even trying to replace Spawnwave. Eventually, VG News might only be a once a week show.
Rebranded to VGG News.
No. It's just video game news. But there's a chance that I might it eventually won't be a 5-day a week. It'll be a 3-day a week, and then eventually 2-day a week, and then eventually just 1 day. Once we get into the heyday of Switch, because we are Nintendo first. And as I'm driving content for all these big Nintendo games, it's going to take time away from being able to do VG News. But that does mean when we have that episode, which will probably be Fridays, right? Like it's the most realistic, or a Saturday, one of those 2 days. That when that happens, the VG News is also going to be evolved and be even more insane than it already is.
Oh yeah.
Because you have a whole week worth of stuff going into it, a whole week of research, it's going to be crazy. Also probably long, like 35, 45 minutes. But I have some plans, but for right now, what's really cool about VG News is I can always expand it out to do it more than once a week when news is slow for Nintendo. So it's kind of neat that I have a show that can shift like that. And you guys might get mad. Oh, it's not consistent. No, it's consistently awesome. That's what I care about. Anyways, thank you guys for being here. One more episode of the Nintendo Prime Podcast before it's called something else.
Oh, look at that.
So enjoy it. Might be an emotional week next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Era.
Thank you for the 3 people who subscribed to me during this.
Hell yeah.
That's a good number.
That's a good number, yeah.
I'll take 3.
But
Hey, we're at 169. Look at
Nice.
that. 169.
Hell yeah.
You have to wait till you get on to heated debate.